X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A spell that attracts all who spit facts online all the time.
Can you see it? All the ones who drag my name every single day. Can you see it? Can you see it? Can you see it? They keep saying you don't have what it takes to carve out your own name underneath the shadows of gods. And I keep waiting for the day disbelievers say I flew way too close to the sun. I wait, but it never really comes. The X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A spell that attracts all who speak facts online all the time. The X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A force that compels all to rebel from all that shackled mind. Why do they just stand there against when they fall from the battles I have overcome? You feel it, feel the cope and the seething torment they make while I stand up, man among gods. And I keep vaping with my mill, shooting ropes in my cold that faces towards the sun. They hate, but I'm sitting comfy with their mom. The X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A spell that attracts all who speak facts online all the time. The X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A force that compels all to rebel from all that shackled mind. The X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A spell that attracts all who speak facts online all the time. The X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A force that compels all to rebel from all that shackled minds. It's you and me, your mom, it's me. I'll take another hit from my name. You'll see now, watch me right now, punch your face now. Show you how.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hello, welcome back. It is so good to see all of you. What's up? Definitely not Alice. Hey there, Zawarm Chills, Perry Icefire, good to see ya. Now you love that. Decayed Slav, how you doing? TSW the Shadow Wolf, what's up? Stella, how are you? Revan, welcome. DJ Reaper Skier, how you doing? Intel Fox 51, good to see ya. Circuit Dog, how are you? The Nerd, welcome. I know you love it when I mute Perry Icefire. Ectoplasm, how are you? Alex Wooten, welcome. Hit the Mat, what's up? Y_MMK, how are you doing? Juno was mad, what's up? Keenan or something, what is going on? Hi there. Redo, how are you doing? Or Redux, my bad. Boldylocks, how are you? Astronaut Lad 172, I think I already said hi to you. Bars. Doodlecat 606, how are you doing? Good to see ya. Hey, it's Leo. How you doing? Alice and Jod, how you doing? Good to see ya. Listening while playing Satisfactory as usual. The factory must grow. It must grow. I hope you have fun. Audio's a bit off. I think it's because you moved your mic last stream for gaming. Is the audio good or is it, like, bad? Does it need to be made louder? Is it better? Is it worse? What do you guys think? Should I move the mic back right in front of me? I'm gonna listen to it myself. Test, test, test. Test, test, test. Test, test, test. Test, test, test. Wow. Yeah, no, it sounds good. That's actually, like, really good. Audio's fine. Cool, I don't have to have the mic in front of me blocking my view of everything the entire stream. That's very helpful. That actually changes everything. Genuinely game-changing. I had no clue I could just do that. I hope you guys are having a good day so far. I appreciate you all for coming out. Already 90 people here. Welcome, welcome. It's good to see ya. In fact, speaking of which, I've got some good news for you guys. You know how yesterday I was talking about how, despite the entire channel's performance being up by quite a bit, video by video performance had been down for several days and by a lot? I looked on Reddit. Turns out I am not the only one that was dealing with that. In fact, it's slowly been escalating to be like most of YouTube that has been experiencing this phenomenon. And apparently it's been going on for some people for weeks or months in some cases, since like June or July. And so here is how the new algorithm change works. And at first I thought it was a hypothesis, but today's high video performance basically confirms it for me. So I'm going to show you guys my YouTube, like, the analytics for impressions, like the amount of views gained through impressions in my analytics page. You're allowed to show this, by the way. Oh, wow, you guys can't see it. So you'll notice, and normally this would correlate with upload rate and the amount of videos I'm making and how good they are, how many views they're getting. But these waves, everyone is getting them, of different varying sizes, but the same waves. At like a few days at a time you get highly promoted, and then a few days at a time, sometimes up to 4 or 5, you don't get promoted. And the 27th, when that big drop-off happened, my channel was getting promoted pretty hard for a few days, and then it dropped off. Today, and the last few days have been in this little area, but today, we started to spike up again. The last two videos I've uploaded have been massively well-performing, which implies to me that the theory is right. YouTube is doing this weird new algorithmic thing where they push your channel super hard for a few days, and then they don't give you any promotion for a few, and then they push it super hard for a few days, which is absolutely manageable. I'm aware, goddammit, Malcolm. Yeah, Zan's not dying. Thankfully, I'm not dead, yes. I'm alive. You know what I do have, though? I have separated ribs. I went to the doctor the other day on Halloween, and I found out that when I had COVID and I was coughing my fucking lungs out, I separated some of my ribs. And that's where my, like, back stretching around to my chest pain has been coming from. That I've had for, like, 2 years. It's from ripping that vape 24/7, King? Nah, no, it's not, goddammit, Malcolm. I assure you, it's not from me hitting the vape. It's from having COVID and coughing so hard. Is there a fix for this, or is your ribs just like that now? I think it just kind of will heal over time. You'll have to ask DeLancer. I wish DeLancer was in chat. Doctor recommended low mobility for my upper back area where the ribs that are separated are for a while. Yeah, ectoplasm, it sucks. I only just found out about it, so I've only just started to, like, take it easy and allow my, my ribs to heal. Don't you know vapes disintegrate ribs? It's common medical knowledge. True! True. That is true. Pepper T21, thank you so much for the $5 donation. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. It really helps a lot. Said, hark, for I am based. I have liked and commented on 20 Zan videos today. Hell yeah. Thank you for the $5, Pepper T21. I appreciate it. You don't gotta go overboard. I just mean, like, you know, when I upload a new video, consider leaving a comment and a like. It helps a ton. How you doing, Grutz the Food Man? All right. Man, I have some good topics for you guys today. We're not getting right into it just yet, but man, this is gonna be some good-ass topics. I'm excited for today's stream. I'm gonna be probably quite loud during it as well. Zan, cute cat photos. Ooh. Babies. Well, look at them. They're so cute. I like the tuxedo cat. I like that I can tell this one has a little bit of a tuxedo thing going on. Love that. This one is all fluffy and floofy. If you scroll down, you got a little floofer. Look at that floofer. Cats are cute. I do like cats. I'm more of a dog person, but I also love cats. Apparently Trump called Biden retarded behind closed doors. That's crazy. You know, to be fair, I believe Biden referred to Trump behind the scenes usually as anything from that son of a bitch to that fuck. I think there is, like, campaign staffers that have come out and said that Biden has referred to Trump as a sick fuck behind the scenes. It wasn't that fuck, it was that sick fuck, I believe is what he said. So Xander Hall, I checked my YouTube channel that I haven't posted in like 5 years. Turns out that Nutshell Animations, 9 million sub-animators, saw my shitty Minecraft videos and commented on it, lol. Hell yeah, Ride the Rails, that's so cool. We need blood sports presidential debates. True. True. Bring them back. Why is Trump too afraid to debate? Why won't he do it? Why won't he do it? Why is he so scared? What's he so scared of? Stardew's? Yeah, this is Stardew music. I love me some Stardew Valley. I've gotten very much into it lately. Abigail's gonna be my wife. Finally catch one of these early, loving the Stardew OST. Man, you guys love the Stardew music. I knew it would be a good fit for the stream background. I'm glad you like it. Based Abigail enjoyer? I am a chat, after all. Sigma male. I know what I want. Cruz is worried? Ted Cruz is worried? He's scared? The swamp doesn't... Hold on, how do I talk like Ted Cruz? The swamp doesn't want me to win. Chuck Schumer and George Soros are spending $100 million against me to try and flip Texas blue. The only way I can fight back is if patriots across the country go to tedcruz.org and chip in. Cancun Cruz.
What do you make of the race at the top of the ticket? How do you think it shakes out between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris?
Look, I'm hopeful. If I were putting odds, I put it about 60-40 that Trump wins. But underscore that there's a 40% chance Kamala.
It's really wild how often. Hey, at least Ted Cruz isn't doing the full 49 state landslide for Trump Tim Pool prediction from 2020. Who remembers that? Never ever let him make you forget that. Remember, 49 state landslide. He said this like 50 times.
Comes out of this. You look at the swing states, they're all within a point or two. It is really close. That means turnout matters. It means make sure you come out and vote and bring your friends and family. If you live in Texas, I want to ask you, we've got early voting. Early voting is still going on tomorrow. If you haven't voted yet, come out tomorrow and vote early. If you don't vote tomorrow, then vote on Election Day next Tuesday. But don't just come yourself. Bring your family, bring your friends, pick up the phone,
just
bring
come yourself.
others. And I would say again, go to tedcruz.org, because the swamp doesn't want me to win, and my only defense against Chuck
Stop murdering people, Ted Cruz.
Schumer and George Soros and $100 million is patriots across Texas and across the country going to tedcruz.org and giving to let us communicate and win. And do that whether you live in Texas or whether you live in every other state. Make sure you show up, particularly in the swing states. Bring everyone out you can.
Darn right. Senator, great having you on. Best of
They're coming after me. They're gonna swing Texas blue. I fucking hope so, bro. Don't tempt me with a good time. Blue Texas. Good lord, that would be a dream, wouldn't it? Intel Fox 51, thank you for the $2 super chat over on YouTube. Thank you. So, do you plan to get rid of the furry chat in your server? I do, but I have a plan to, like, organize the server in a way where everybody will be happy. Don't worry. There's gonna be, like, a general area. There's gonna be, like, a cordoned off, like, hyper fan area, for all the, like, hyper interests and stuff like that. And, people who are super active in the community will get access to all that. But in the, like, for immediate new joiners, they're just going to be in, like, the main chats and stuff and all that, so that we can kind of get them used to the server and they don't get overwhelmed by all of, like, the pet, like, here, post a pet, here, talk about your hobbies, here, talk about what game you're playing, here is a chat for every game that you could possibly be playing, right? It's overwhelming for a lot of people. So, hoping to cut some things down, mostly for the new joiner experience, you know what I mean? Like, if you're a normal, like, regular user of the Discord, nothing's really going to change, but for new users, I want it to be more simple and straightforward, just to be able to get into the community and get to be, like, a part of the conversation and not feel overwhelmed. Especially because we need to consolidate where people are actively speaking. You know, like, right now it's all spread out, and that's not the best for the server's health, unfortunately. Zan needs a decoy server. True, we gotta make a new decoy server. If you delete the bear channel, I think Balth will come down from Canada and strangle you. We'll always have a channel for animal posting, don't worry. Hey, if you're watching the stream right now, and you like it, granted we haven't gotten into much just yet, but if you want to support me, please consider hitting that like button. Every single individual like counts, and every one of those thumbs up actually, in real time, forces YouTube to push my content and the algorithm out to more of my subscribers and new potential viewers and new subscribers. So I really do appreciate it. Takes half a second. It's totally free. Thank you to everybody who goes out of your way to do that. Thank you. Zan, can we request access to the Chud channel in your server? I want to play with all the toys in there. Yeah, everybody would be able to access it. New subscriber, welcome, Ivan Basulik. Is that a Polish last name? Oh no, Ivan. It might not be. It could also be even more Eastern European. Croatian. Okay, that goes hard. I like Croatian. One of my favorite villains in The Walking Dead was a Croatian guy who went by the Croat. So I like that. Played by a very famous Croatian actor, too. So much so that you probably already know who I'm talking about, because him being in The Walking Dead was probably big news in Croatia. I don't know much about that country. All I know is there was a villain in The Walking Dead from there, and he was cool. I dated this woman with a crazy Polish last name I couldn't even pronounce, even when she told me how to. That's great. That's pretty great. Just saw the thumbnail for the new Amon vid about Asmon. I'll have to watch it later. I just ate. That's really good. That's really good. Never watched Walking Dead, but currently living in Canada? Hell yeah. Well, hopefully, you get to upgrade to better Canada, aka America. Because Canada is just worse America. Let's be real. Let's be real. Canada's worse America. We won't spoil it for you, but the new Amon vid is amazing. Hold on, I'm watching it now. It's out? Amon animations. Oh my god. Asmongold, Eldritch Gamer. And immediately I see the... Okay, so it's immediately the house from Resident Evil 7. This is great. Okay, hold on. Let me get this all set up here. Immediately, it's the house from Resident Evil... The guest house from Resident Evil 7. Oh, this goes so hard already.
Last night I did what happened to me the longest dream that I've ever had of not taking a shower.
Oh my god.
And I made a tweet about this, and I said that I hadn't showered in a month. There were a lot of people who I suppose weren't real viewers of mine thought that I was lying, and a lot of my real viewers said that it was a good start.
Get the dead rat out? I don't need to anymore. It doesn't smell bad. it would. The thing is, I used to use a dead rat as an alarm clock, actually, for my stream. Because basically what happened was, whenever the sun would come up, it would start cooking the corpse of the rat.
Is that a Dark Souls rat? That's a Dark
again,
Souls 1 rat.
And then the smell would wake me up. And then I would know, oh shit, it's time to stream.
Why does he look like Jesus? That's real.
Fuck! There are plenty of things that I have ignored them for long enough they did go away. Ignoring problems works very regularly. I'll give you an example.
The pan out.
My teeth were a problem. I ignored them. They went
now
away.
They're gone.
Fuck! Why is there blood? Well, I used to have problems with my teeth, right? And so what I have to do is, like, my teeth would bleed at night, so it would just, like, accumulate and dry in my mouth. So, like, whenever I'd wake up, I'd take my finger and I'd just dig it out of my gums, and I'd just smear it on the wall. Come on! Are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me?
I just think the entire video game industry has gone woke and gay. Like, what happened to a masculine dude with a hot chick on his arm? I love the idea of Xbox Game Pass, but I swear every time I open it up and look for new games, there's just so many games that look gay now.
These different social issues, I think, for a lot of gamers, and I find it to be very disappointing to see it whenever I'm
What the
watching
fuck?
a new trailer on my
Is that a
screen,
corpse?
And there's, oh my god, there's a fucking black person. Oh my god, there's a woman. And then I see my chat stream, and everybody is spamming woke. They're like, oh, woke game, woke game. Oh, no, another girl protagonist.
Everyone in chat's just so horrified. Oh shit. He's regenerating.
What's the probability that the government wants to frame the Tate brothers? Probably 50%. The government frames people all the time. Like, if
got
you've seen
replaced.
anything out of, like, any of the leaks from, you know, the way that they tried to, you know, fuck with Martin Luther King and people like that, yeah. It's Romania. Okay. I'm not going to cry a fucking river when people who have genocide that's baked into their laws are getting genocided. I don't give a fuck. They're terrible people. These people are not your allies. They are not the same as us. They come from an inferior culture, and it is an inferior culture in all ways. It is that simple. No, I don't feel bad for them. I don't care.
I need to read some comments. Hold on, guys. You can tell it's fake because Asmongold's apartment is newer, or never that clean. Incredible how this is all real audio. It's really ironic when a guy like that is talking about inferior cultures and is not talking about the culture growing in his house. They come from an inferior culture, unlike Asmongold, who is clearly the product of a superior culture. So many games that look gay now. I don't live in filth, I am the filth. Best animator on YouTube. That rat is literally vibin'. I'm dying at how he doesn't even clean the chair by removing the previous incarnation of himself. The new version just sits right on top of the old. It's so good. The chair is actually made of decomposing old Asmons. Crazy how much you toned him down and made him family friendly. I feel like I can smell that animation. This Asmongold is better looking than the real one. Grandfather Nurgle walks into Asmongold's room and says, Jesus, this is filthy. Man. Who remembers XQC? XQC trash pile. Let me see if it comes up. Yeah. So XQC one time turned his camera to show what it looks like right next to the other side of his desk. And damn, dude. You know, there was a time where I'd let like 5 or 6 bags or whatever of fast food like sit next to the trash can or whatever or on my desk, and I'd be like, man, I'm such a slob. I gotta clean this up. And I'd put on some music and clean it up, and then I see stuff like this and it's like, oh. Wow. Damn. Okay. Looks like I've been outclassed. Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't have any video editing software, but for that, maybe next time. Oh, are you trying to make your own video edit? Life hack. Keep a trash can in your PC dungeon. Real. Get a trash can for your PC dungeon. Don't even think of watching Amon on shrooms. Stick with Black Hole Sun or music vids. Yeah. No, Black Hole Sun would go crazy while tripping balls, I will say. Bro, listen. Like, dude, it's like, you know, like, chat. It's like, wait, hold on. Bro, listen, like, dude, like, it's, you know, chat. It's like, it's just, it's absolutely omega juicer, dude. It's, you go in and it's, like, and you're like, okay. How do you guys like my, XQC impression? Oh my god, chat. Oh my god. Oh, chat. Holy shit, chat. Oh, chat. Zan, have you seen the clip of XQC getting imitated in a COD lobby? No, I haven't. Man speaks a forbidden tongue. He's a Quebecy. Literally non-human. Westside Tyler's good too at impressions. Is he good at that one? Oh my god, chat. Oh wow, chat. Oh, he's so pug chat. Oh, again, chat. Oh, juicer, we gamble again, chat. Chat, I spin $1,000 per spin. Gambled. Chat. Goddamn Quebecers. I don't know what the actual term is for him. Quebecois? Quebecy? Quebecon? Quebecon? That sounds better. Quebecon. Quebecy? How's it pronounced? I only ever see it typed. Nah, you're just a Quebecer. If you're in Quebec. I'm not bothering to learn how to pronounce that. Quebecus. Quebecus. Quebecus? Yeah, I don't know, man. French is not a real language. Have you seen the Meat Canyon video? Oh yeah, I have. Oh yeah, I'm literally. Oh my god, chat. Oh, my treasure, chat. Oh, get your hands off my treasure. That's so good. All right. I hope you guys are having fun. I hope you guys are liking this. I certainly am. Actual Canadians pronounce Quebec different from us too? Huh. I know a few Canadians and they pronounce it mostly the same as I do. Is Ashroom here or Balthazar? Confirmed Canadians that I can have to confirm this? You've been to Quebec. Oh my god, I'm so sorry for you, Ectoplasm. I hope you're okay. Oh my god, Pepper T21, thank you for the $5 donation. It really means a lot and helps a ton. Thank you. I really appreciate it. It says, I'm doing something ill-advised. I'm playing Civ 6, and then I'm forming countries based on the Civ runs in my setting. Huh. Interesting. That could be fun. I hope you have a good time. Thank you so much for the $5, Pepper T21. It really does mean a lot. Helps a ton, too. Thank you. Man, my throat's getting pretty dry, and I just finished the last of my water, so with that said, I'm gonna run upstairs and grab myself a water bottle, and my shake, my mass gainer shake from the fridge, and then we're gonna be hopping into the first segment for today. And mind you, I've got some exciting segments planned today. Oh boy. The first one I think we're gonna do is, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a good one. We're gonna have a good time with that one. It involves the douchiest of the Paul brothers, Jake Paul, going full Maga. So if that interests you, make sure to stick around, because I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. BRB. Alright, gamers, I'm back. I have the power of God and anime on my side. True. Indeed. High-key hoping it's true that the reason Trump is spending the rest of the campaign in North Carolina is because he has inner info that the election is going really bad. Yeah, I'm guessing that, like, based on several actions he's taken recently, that his internal polling stuff, like all of the data he's got, his campaign has, which would be some of the best that you could have leading up to the election, is showing a pretty strong loss for him. I'm telling you, the neck-to-neck race could be completely media manufactured. I hope it is. I hope the election's results come out and the idea of it being a neck-and-neck race is completely dashed to the wind. I really do, yeah, I don't know. I don't know, War Penguin, it's possible. He's definitely not acting like he's winning PA. That's for sure, War Penguin. He's not acting like he is winning it. I can't watch Vosh Doomer anymore. I feel like it's just like a thing where lefties just get super doomer around the election because they can't be happy about the Democrat candidate because the Democrat candidate also has to be bad in however many ways. You can't, like, ever give them credit. But there's also, like, the looming risk of a fascist winning. So it seems like lefties, like, just always have to be depressed during the election and all doomery. They have a monetary incentive to say that it's close. The closest race in 60 years is a hell of a story. It is very much their financial prerogative to convince people that this is a very close, very important election and that they need to be watching their networks constantly. So it really makes me wonder how much of that is true. It could be. It could totally end up being true, and they may not be lying. They could conveniently be totally right. But it would also not surprise me if there's been some reframing of the real situation for the sake of, you know, pumping up those numbers. Even just, if it's just a little. Some lefties are also too unwilling to think big as well, Zan, and that's a big problem, at least in my view. Why are lefties so bad at thinking big? Like, if you're a socialist or a communist, you literally have to think on large scale if you ever want to see anything you believe in actually put in place in America. So you would think that you would necessarily have to think bigger, or longer term if you're a lefty, but they don't. They typically don't. Not always don't, but, you know, like, oftentimes progressives online are a little bit, like, tunnel-visioned, I guess. I really hope it's neck and neck, at least for, like, the first few bit. I hope it's not just a clean sweep, because that would be very unsatisfactory, and I want us to be edged hoping. Wins her seeming like she's on the back foot, and then boom, she wins. That's how it went with Biden, where Biden seemed like he was on the back foot, not quite losing, but not winning hard enough to secure it. And then all of a sudden the mail-in ballots came in, as everyone predicted, heavily leaning Democrat, and it swung the election in favor of Biden. I really don't like how a lot of the online left overuses unhelpful and provably non-useful rhetoric. If it's tried and not working, move on to something else. I kind of agree with that. Do you have any examples, Sylvie DB? By the way, Zan, are you a socialist? I guess I'd say so. Doesn't really matter, though, because, you know, we're not very close to socialism, so... If you actually are a communist, a socialist, or a liberal, then you should generally be agreeing on every proposed policy position across the board these days. Because America's Overton window has yet to reach the point where leftism is a viable, like, political movement just yet. It very well could be in, like, a decade. As soon as a decade, I could totally see, like, socialism being a viable, radical political movement. Not a revolutionary movement, but a political movement that has enough steam to actually, like, gain some traction in the Democrat Party. Maybe a little bit of a majority of elected representatives in the House and in Congress might be more aligned with Bernie Sanders and AOC than most of them are today. That I can totally see happening in, like, 10 to 20 years. Absolutely. But you like I said, gotta think long term. Yeah, the only edging we're gonna be doing on election night is while looking at Xander Hall. Exactly. Yeah, I'm mogging all of you guys. Yeah. Dude, when I mog you and I mute, that's your cue to edge, okay? Horrific. Currently beating up Logan Paul on WWE 2K? Hell yeah, War Penguin. I hope you have fun with that. If you figure out how to fix the name colors, can I get a special purple name for being based? Sure, Pepper221. I do hope we're able to fix the name color stuff soon. White Nervous has been working on that, but if you are still having problems with it, please send an email to the White Leaf support email down below. Because it's not something I can fix. It's got to be fixed by White Leaf. White Leaf. King of the Car Park, thank you for the $5 dues. I really appreciate that. Very kind of you, very based, very much, very helpful. Says, I have 2016 PTSD hard, but I was phone banking to PA voters on Halloween, and I got one Trump voter out of dozens. I also saw a Catholics for Harris/Walls sign here in Pittsburgh. Let's fucking hope for that Kamala sweep, guys. Let's hope. And let's vote. God's sakes, make sure you vote. Thank you for the $5, King of the Car Park. I really appreciate it. Let me update that there dono goal really fast. Reflect your kindness, your generosity, your beauty. Y'all are so based. Oh, I've got good photos of my dog to show you. You guys have been good today, and so you have earned photos of my little puppy. Alright. Puppy time! Here is a picture of her lounging on the couch. As you can see, she's got her stuffed blowhigh that she loves. She loves that thing. It's her favorite. She lays on top of it. She lays next to it. She hangs out with it. It's her toy. She loves it. That's how she just lays there like a little lamb, a little bean. She's very cute. Her tummy is very soft, and yes, she wants you to pet it. Here's a picture of her judging you homophobically. She's doing that, like, I know what you are face. You know that one dog, the homophobic dog? That goes like, I know what you are. She's doing that face here. And her tail is wagging very quickly because she's excited about getting pictures taken of her. Anytime you pull out your phone and you take pictures of her, she gets ridiculously hyped. She goes crazy. She gets the zoomies when you take photos of her. She goes crazy for it. Next, we got a photo of her trying to climb up the back of the couch because I'm, like, taking the photo of her looking over the back of the couch, and she's just looking up at me, and she's like, oh yeah, make sure you get my good side, which is all of her sides. Here's a photo of where she likes to hang out a lot these days, which is climbing up and then sitting on top of the cushion and up against the wall. So she just perches up there like a cat, and she gets her big wide view of the entire house. Also, she's got her tongue out as she licks her entire nose somehow. She's very funny like that. And the final picture is her after a nice nap. This is how she sleeps. She usually lays her head on a pillow, like a person, but she's got very, like, downy fur, and it's not very warming or insulating, so she's got to be wrapped up in a little blanket and tucked in. She'll beg for it. She'll cry to be tucked in. So here's her waking up from a nap after sleeping all day in her little comfy, fluffy blanket. She is indeed my precious little bean. She is, in fact, the best. She is quite rambunctious, though. She's very energetic. You've seen her when she's vibing and just chilling out and being all cute laying down, but usually she's trying to climb you like a cat. And she's usually, like, making what genuinely sounds like monkey noises because she's so excited to see me. She's so cute. She gets the zoomies big time, yeah. She's still a puppy, so she gets big time puppy zoomies. I love that you pronounce it right. Yeah, I learned how to pronounce blowhigh a long time ago. I'd actually never been to an IKEA before, so when I went there a couple years ago for the first time here in Seattle, I was like, oh, they got the trans shark plushies. And so I grabbed one. And now I have one of the trans sharks. I should probably find a place to put it somewhere in the background, but I don't have any shelves yet. I live in PA and have seen a lot of Kamala and Walz signs in typically Republican-controlled areas. That's good to hear, Tristix. I will say, obviously it's what you expect, but around here in Seattle, man, every other yard has a Kamala Harris Walz sign. They're gonna sweep this state with literally no effort. One time a cat that we no longer have, Elizabeth, wanted to climb onto my back, but I had to go to school at that time, so I was getting ready, and then she just climbed me like a tree and went on my back. It was weird and amazing. Aww. I live in Massachusetts, and I have seen so many Trump signs, like more Trump than Harris signs. That doesn't surprise me. Although, let's see, Massachusetts could, like, rural Massachusetts is pretty right-wing, but we could see it swing, who knows? When I went to the college football game a few weeks back, I saw a few Harris/Walz signs in rural Iowa when it was all Trump before. Yeah, not all voters have signs. You gotta remember, there's that too. But, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I feel like Kamala Harris wins comfortably. That's my prediction still. A comfortable Kamala Harris win. Massachusetts is solidly blue, though, right? Yeah, you'd think so, but well, let's hope that it stays that way. I don't feel like it's a state with Boston and it is going to swing to the red, but you never know. My neighborhood is very blue, and there was one Trump sign, and it's gone now. That's good at least, Stella. Coach Walls getting the sports fans / athletes votes. That's true, yeah. Walls is gonna pull those. He's a football coach. Everybody who loves their NFL is gonna be like, Ayo? Coach Walls? I want him to coach our country. And that'll be how it goes. A lot of Harris signs in suburban Ohio. That's good to hear. Ohio Riz, Skibbity Gat? Really? There's lots of Kamala Harris signs in Ohio Skibbity Gat Riz? That's crazy. Alright, I'm done. I'm sorry. You guys have full permission to just hate me now.
Nervous.
Alright. That's not very demure of you, Ectoplasm. Alright. Y'all know what to do when I say action, right? 3, 2, 1... Action. Alright, guys. Man. You know what? Just comment down below your least favorite thing about Jake Paul. I need to know. Because he might be one of the only content creators that has been around for so long who I have hated for that long. Onision might be a good runner-up, but man, it is hard to not hate the Paul brothers, especially Jake. Look how douchey he looks here. Oh my god. From the tattoos to the beard. Who was going to tell me that Jake Paul had grown the douchiest beard in the history of douche beards? How do you, destroy how do you destroy the concept of a beard so utterly? He looks fake. He looks like if somebody wanted to, design the douchiest looking guy in a character creator. Man, I really hope Mike Tyson goes, OG Crazy Mike on him, you know? I need it, alright? I need old Mike to be unlocked from within him, alright? I need it to happen, okay? I need things that YouTube will not let me say to happen to Jake Paul in that ring. God, he's such a douche. Anyway, Jake Paul put out a video called Who I'm Supporting for President and Why You Should Too. Oh my god, a famous millionaire is going to vote for Republican Donald Trump? Who could have possibly seen this coming? He must have very good and non-financially motivated self-serving reasons for this. Let's find out.
Nervous, scared to make this video because of what it means in terms of my career, my life, people coming after me, more accusations, more turmoil.
Oh yeah, funnily enough, speaking of accusations, I think it was Logan Paul, it was one of the Paul brothers, got accusations of some kind of sexual impropriety. It was basically... Yeah, it was something like that at one of their houses a long time ago. I remember covering this, years ago, and no one gave a shit. It just kind of fell to the wayside. It was the Paul brothers, right? I'm not thinking of a different YouTuber, a different millionaire LA douche tuber. I might be thinking of someone else. Take that with a grain of salt, guys. I might be thinking of someone else. I think there was some other LA douche tuber, and there was this female influencer who came out and made a long post describing the story, and like what happened in the house, and involved like drugging and roofing and stuff, and it was really disturbing. But it was just another one of those horror stories that comes from those like content creator houses in LA, from the where these giant clouded up douchebag YouTubers live. Ice Poseidon, definitely not confusing him with anyone, I assure you.
More division potentially. However, I just want to provide information to the potentially undecided voter, the things that I have seen over the past couple of years that have led me in a certain direction as to who I am supporting in this presidential election. And most of all, encouraging y'all to actually vote, encouraging y'all to actually do your own research and to base that research in the truth, not just reckless.
If you're wondering why I keep switching cameras over and over again, it's because the audience of the Paul brothers is around 12 to 14. This has been known for a long time, and if you want to retain viewers in the 12 to 14 demographic, there has to be a camera switch or a cut every 5 or so seconds, or you lose viewer retention instantly. And obviously, Jake Paul and Logan Paul have dominated the space of douchebag YouTubers making content for little kids, that genre, for a long time. They know how it works, so that's why there's these annoying flips left and right constantly, because he's mostly speaking to like a 12 to 14-year-old audience.
Propaganda or your favorite pop star telling you to vote a certain way and you believing them because you love their song. And with that said, after watching this video, you shouldn't necessarily just listen to me either. Do your own research before you go and vote, but I highly
The conservative line, do your own research, never actually means do your own research. It always means, okay, so go to one of the pre-approved conservative outlets, and then there you're going to be inundated with stories that have absolutely no evidence or factual like basis or like confirmation by third-party sources that it's even a real story, and then you're going to run with that. And if it ends up being, when it ends up being proven completely made up, you're going to drop it, pretend like no one ever talked about it or believed in it. This is called memory holing, for those that don't know. And you're going to move on to the next thing. That's what doing your own research means when conservatives say that. They don't actually mean do your own research. If they did, they would Google something and immediately find their entire worldview is wrong, after like 3 or 4 Google searches, if that's what they were actually doing.
Highly encourage you to exercise your right to vote. Because I moved to Puerto Rico in pursuit of becoming a world champion in my boxing career, I have...
Yeah, so people were calling this out, particularly with the timing, that Donald Trump had just done a disastrous rally in New York in which Puerto Ricans across America are calling him out for bringing on a comedian that called Puerto Rico a trash island in the Pacific. And Jake Paul moved to Puerto Rico, and I'm guessing because the U.S. dollar goes further there. If I'm being honest, if I were to guess, when you're a big ass fucking YouTuber, there's this like cheat that you can do if you're like an American big YouTuber. You can immigrate to a country that is much worse off financially. I don't know. Let me think. For example, like the Philippines, I guess, or Georgia. A place where costs are lower because the general like pay is lower and income is lower. YouTube still pays you the same amount and in USD no matter what. And so if you move to Puerto Rico as a YouTuber, you're getting massive paychecks in USD that dwarf the pay. They already were when they lived in America, but especially so. Like you go from being like 1% in America to top 0.001% in like Puerto Rico, for example. I think Puerto Rico uses USD, yes, but the pay is not going to be as high as it is in most US, like most of the US, right? I'm pretty sure Puerto Rico uses USD. Maybe it does. I don't know. It seems like it would, considering it's a territory of ours, but it doesn't use the US dollar. Regardless, then, that would just mean the conversion rate would be even more favorable. Yeah, the cost of living is so much lower. Everyone else is getting paid less, and that's why the cost of living is lower. So you cheat. You, as an American who has a set salary that can constantly rise through YouTube, can move to like essentially a developing nation or somewhere that's far less like economically well off or has far less inflation, and you can basically cheat. And this is what Jake Paul's probably done. Like in Puerto Rico, the place that Jake Paul has based on the wall and the window here, he probably lives in like a fucking castle for like 10% of what it would cost to get that in America.
Person in my right to vote, but that doesn't mean I can't present my 80 million large audience with proper facts, numbers, and data to encourage them to vote in the proper direction to quite literally save America. And I'll start off with something that bothered me recently was
80 million people, by the way, is enough to swing an election. So what he's saying there is, I have a big enough platform to swing the election.
Tony Hinchcliffe, a comedian who made a bad joke. Obviously, he's doing his job, trying to be funny, but him talking smack about Puerto Rico was not funny. And I want to shine a light on the fact that these aren't Donald Trump's views. It was a comedian who made a bad joke.
I have no idea who he is. Never saw him. Never heard of him. And
no, Donald Trump approved of him personally. That is how these events work. They have already... You can see the damage control is strong. There's a reason... Like, when this rally was being announced and it was being hyped up, it was going to be the biggest thing ever. The clip came out. The right defended it right away, saw that Puerto Ricans across the country unanimously did not approve of it, and now they're doing hardcore damage control. From Trump himself to his supporters, trying to claim he made a really bad joke, it wasn't appropriate, he's in no association with Trump. So all of a sudden, the people who are all about their edgy humor and everyone needs to soften up, haha, it's like, man. Yeah. Obviously, the 80 million subscribers that Jake Paul has, many of them are bots, inactive accounts, people who are not American, and people who are kids and can't vote. So, you know, I'm aware of that. Don't worry. But, you know, there's still plenty of voting eligible people out of those 80 million, I assure you.
And don't want to hear of him.
Tony, while I love most of your work, Puerto Rico is the most beautiful place on earth, and the people here are absolutely incredible. Wars, health, guns, jobs, economy, inflation, border control, freedom of speech.
Oh, man. Yeah, he mentions that inflation there. Yeah, basically, he's definitely important. They're doing the same thing right now with, is it... What country is it? I think it's Mali, maybe? M-A-L-I? There's this place that, like, grifter chud YouTubers are moving to. Another country where, like, their money goes further as well. Obviously, Andrew Tate, Romania, for a lot of reasons, especially because money goes further there, USD does. That's the thing. You get paid in USD as a YouTuber. And so these YouTubers can move anywhere in the world and continue making content if they have an internet connection. And if it's somewhere where USD is going to go, like, dozens of times further, they can instantly rocket themselves into the, like, 0.001% of whatever country they move to. It's actually insane. Like, it's really insane for these big YouTubers. It's, like, right there as an option. It's why it's become so popular.
The list goes on and on and on with the number of problems that America currently faces. And I don't come to you to make this video to create more division. I believe love is the key.
Also, yeah, the joke itself that they're all, like, damage controlling for was on a teleprompter. The joke was approved by Trump's campaign. And maybe even Trump himself.
To the universe, and that we should all love each other more and more and more. And it saddens me that in the current political state of the world in America, people can't have opinions without outrageous backlash. And
it's the left dividing everybody because you get backlash if you dare to be conservative. Conservatives are oppressed. Dude, you're jumping on this shit, like, beyond late. What's the comment response like? I assume it's mostly positive? $20 million views, but hidden by YouTube. You rock, and they are shaking. Thank you, sir. Jake loves America so much he eloped to evade paying taxes. What a great guy. That's a good comment. Jake Paul is the opposite of LeBron James. Respect to Jake Paul. Him putting the evidence out and even putting everything he worked for on the line is really respectable. I love you, man. I couldn't agree more with you. People are finally waking up. It's common sense at this point. Thank you, Jake. Trump 2024, baby. Way to go. Party of common sense. Trump, Trump, Trump. In all caps 3 times and then a heart emoji. Jake, this country owes you a great gratitude. Thank you for doing this. God bless you. Trump will win. Please vote for him. If I was an American citizen, I would vote for him too. Even if he leads, please go and vote for him. He will stop the war in Israel and Ukraine and make America great again. From Anabolic Matt. I'm sure that is not a Russia account. Trump will win. Please vote for him. If I was American citizen. Okay. Trump, baby. I'm Puerto Rican. I'm voting for Trump. Amazing video. Thanks for posting. You just got another subscriber. From Mr. Pete's Man with no profile picture. Thank you for having the guts to say the truth. Jake being grown is so amazing to see, if I'm being honest, dude. What? Dude, this guy's like 26 years old. What are you talking about? Okay, no. I forgot. These two have been treated like actual, like, 14-year-olds, but actually in their 20s because of all their money for a while. Like, the media, people online talk about them like they're kids. I don't know why, but these adult men with insane amounts of money and success, because they're so childish in their behavior and thought process, get talked about like they're kids. And when they talk, I guess because he's talking about politics, like, oh, he's grown up. Oh my god. Just fucking euthanize me so I don't have to deal with the cringe anymore.
And I truly believe we can all agree on that things just don't feel right. America doesn't feel good. It shows that we are more divided than ever, and I can't sit back and watch this blasphemy unfold in front of me any longer. What is the problem? Democrats have been in power for 12 of the last 16 years. So if we aren't happy with the current political state, economic...
The Democrats have been in power for 12 of the last... Okay, so this is the most child's understanding of politics as it gets. For one, the presidency is not controlling the government, okay? The presidency has been held by a Democrat that many of the last 16 years. That is true. Yeah, fair. There's been one Republican term out of the last 4 terms of presidency. That is true. However, that is what has been voted for. Mind you, the president doesn't have full unanimous control of the government. They don't even have a lot of control over the government. In fact, over the last 4 years, we've had a Republican-controlled House, I believe. Before that, I believe it was a Republican-controlled, Republican-controlled Congress. Before that, I believe it was a Republican-controlled House, or Senate. No, it was a Republican-controlled Senate. We have been bouncing between a Republican-controlled Senate and House for all 4 of those terms. Obama's presidency, I think it was in the first 4 years, or maybe it was the last 4 years, was practically dead in the water, and he couldn't pass anything because the Senate, everything would get blocked by the Senate. Now we've got a Supreme Court that's red, hard red. The Supreme Court can even shoot things down the president tries to pass. That's why when Biden was eliminating student loan debt, he had to do it by a few million at a time, because he couldn't sign an executive order getting rid of all of it because it would have been available for the Supreme Court to veto, which they would have done immediately. So Biden had to do it chunk by chunk by chunk, which was in his authority to do and could not be challenged by the Supreme Court. This is literally the lie that conservatism, the type of mindset that conservatism thrives on, the child's idea of politics, that the president is like the king of America. They're controlling everything. Everyone's doing what they say. And look how good things were when Trump was president. Meanwhile, they weren't. They'll just gaslight themselves into thinking they were. That's literally what they do. They gaslight themselves into thinking things were better. Now, for Jake Paul, to be fair, things were probably better when Trump was president. You know, Donald Trump did do a lot of things that helped millionaires and fucked over working class people. So for Jake Paul, yeah, Trump's presidency, financially, economically, probably better for him. But we literally experienced one of the largest financial crashes in recent memory under Trump. We had to literally receive multiple stimulus checks for multiple months because the economy was so weak, people couldn't work. And people needed money. The economy would have collapsed if people didn't get the stimulus because no one would have spent on anything. It would have been catastrophic. It was like rescue breaths to the American people and the economy. That is what had to happen because of one Trump term. Trump had record low approval ratings when he left office. And yet, they gaslight themselves into thinking things were better. They memory hole the actual reality of what Trump's presidency was like.
Economic state, environmental state, then who is to blame? Tim Walz, the vice presidential candidate, has even said this himself.
We can't afford 4 more years of this.
We can't have 4 more years of this. Even Tim's...
What? I'm pretty sure when Tim Walz said we can't have 4 more years of this, he's referring to 4 more years of Trump. Why would you... So right off the bat, in the video that is being praised by Trump supporters is for his honesty and he shows a clip of Tim Walz saying we can't have 4 more years of this and frames it as though it's Tim Walz criticizing Biden's administration. When it is, we all know it's him criticizing Trump and saying we can't have 4 more years of Trump. after describing Trump. Even if he was talking about Biden, Kamala isn't Biden. Good point, by the way. They do try to argue that Biden's perceived failures are Kamala Harris's perceived failures because they've monopolized off of the media constantly talking about how Biden is old, he's barely functional, he's dying, he's not even alive anymore. And they try to claim that Biden or Kamala has effectively for 2 or more years been the sitting president, and that every perceived failure of Biden is actually a perceived failure of Kamala too, because Kamala has basically been president for 2 years, and look, she hasn't done anything that she promises to do. They've been arguing that completely falsely. It's just a literally opposite truth. It's an anti-truth for years now, and it's their way of trying to claim that Kamala Harris has had a chance to do things that she promises to do before and hasn't followed up as an attack on her, when it's just objectively not the case. It's just an objective lie-based attack. Something very, very common for Republicans in politics.
Says there needs to be change, and he's right. We need to change from Kamala Harris to the Republican candidate.
We need to change from Kamala Harris to the Republican candidate. Look at that. The framing of it as though Kamala Harris is already the president, when in fact she is the vice president, which if Jake Paul's fans knew what the positions of government do, the vice president is president of the Senate and is the president of, well, not the president of, the person in charge of dealing with talks with other foreign leaders, our main negotiator with other nations, or the person who is meant to keep our relationships with those other nations in line. That is the vice president's job. Already, we're getting exactly what I just described. The false framing that the lack of Biden competency means that Kamala Harris has been the one It's why I've been so... Guys, my shitting on the attacks on Biden were not just to defend Biden. It was all part of a plan that you could see a mile away to try and heap blame for any perceived notion of anything on Biden, either when the election came around, if he was still the sitting president, it was going to harm his chances, or it would end up harming Kamala, the inevitable candidate, if anyone replaces him, because they'll just do this. They'll just say, she's been the president. They've been weekend at Bernie's-ing Biden for years now. Yeah. And Vosh fell for it? Apparently. I've heard that from you guys, but who cares?
Donald Trump. Tim, I remind you that your running mate, Kamala Harris, is vice president, currently in the office, and hasn't done anything while...
I desperately wish I could talk with any of these people who do this whole Kamala Harris is the sitting... like basically the sitting president, why hasn't she done anything narrative. Oh my fucking god. This is why the right is able to have success in this country. Most Americans don't have a decent civics education, and so you can just lie to their face like this, and they're like, sounds right to me. They're not going to fact check that. They're going to vote based on that lie. And they're not going to think twice about it.
While she's in office. Basically no accomplishments. Let's start with a chart of inflation during the Biden-Harris term. Their overall inflation is 20.2% compared to the Trump-Pence administration with over...
So yeah, the inflation rate went up massively during the beginning of the Biden-Harris administration. Hold on. January of first year in office versus July of fourth year in office. Okay, that's at least recent. 20 to 20.2 in energy, gasoline, rent, food, Trump-Pence. This is what's so frustrating about economics when it comes to the Republicans. For one, inflation is not something that can really drop. The inflation rate can drop, but inflation by year doesn't really go down. Prices do, though. Like, the reason why you have to adjust for inflation from now to, like, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, 100 years ago, and the number keeps they keep being more, like, disparate, those numbers, is because the inflation doesn't really recover, right? Like, it doesn't really go back to that. Prices can, though, and they have. That's why people aren't using that narrative of no one can afford groceries anymore, because Biden and Harris stabilized the grocery prices. They've been forcing companies, they've been doing everything they can to force companies into setting their prices at a set cap for how high they can raise them. Because what the Republicans point to as an inflation rate increase is a real number that they can point to and say, look, inflation went up between Trump and Pence's term and Biden and Harris's term. Okay, sure. But if you actually look at what caused it, you'll find that the inflation rate rise because of the massive economic crash due to the handling of COVID. That was a big part of it. You'll also find that the prices are the actual thing that people complain about, not the inflation. And the prices are not necessarily due to inflation. The inflation rate has dropped down to record low levels in the last few years. And despite that, prices for a while during that time were quite high, especially for fast food and grocery stores, for rent, anything you could imagine that wasn't a luxury purchase. Luxury purchases during the pandemic era and the economic crash were actually pretty affordable, more affordable than usual, but genuine like staple needs were more expensive than they had been in a long time. Those prices are not controlled by the presidency, nor are they controlled by the vice presidency. Or what you said about Kamala, the sitting VP and no policy, the guy pivoted and played defense. Well, I'm just wondering, whenever will a conservative be able to describe a policy decision made by Trump that actually affected the economy positively and how it did so? I would love to see that. Because I can give a million examples. Biden and Kamala Harris, for example, literally like set price caps on shitloads of staple needs. That was a big way that they helped the fight against the right's narrative that they're the reason for the prices going up. Mind you, it's been well known for a long time that tons of industries artificially increase prices during Democrat terms, notably oil companies, when it comes to the gas prices. The gas prices are set higher when Democrats are in office because those gas companies know that they are better off with Republicans in office. The Democrats want to regulate them. They want to encourage green energy and cuck out to those climate change activists. You know what I'm saying? And so they inflate the prices. And Americans will elect Hitler if it means that there'll be lower gas prices. They will elect Hitler himself for lower gas prices. And that is why the right would honestly be better off. Trump would be better off if more than anything, he just laser focused on the economy. He would win guaranteed if he did nothing but focus on the economy and his rhetoric.
Overall inflation of 6.7%, statistically 14% better, while Trump was running the economy. As you can see in every category, energy, gasoline, rent, and food, the numbers are exponentially lower, and the lowest of the past 30 years of presidents. Again, regardless of your emotion.
Let's actually look into this. A president's roles can play a role in influencing inflation. However, because inflation is a complex phenomenon driven by a range of factors, the relationship between policies and prices is not always straightforward. Inflation is generally among the top concerns for consumers as it makes everyday prices such as gas, groceries, and utilities more expensive. As prices increase, purchasing power decreases, meaning consumers get less for their money. Let's explore how inflation has fluctuated throughout different presidential administrations. When inflation is high, the Federal Reserve uses monetary policy to slow the economy down by increasing the federal funds rate, influencing interest rates, and making borrowing money more expensive for consumers and businesses. The Federal Reserve has a target annual inflation rate of 2%, and it uses monetary policy to keep inflation in check and to stabilize the economy when inflation rises above that checkmark or benchmark. The Fed, economists, and governments closely monitor the inflation rate to determine if any action needs to be taken to stabilize the economy. But whose fault is it when inflation rises too high or falls too low? How much control does the president have over inflation, and how have the actions of presidents impacted the inflation rate over the years? The answers depend on the specific economic circumstances and challenges of any period in time. However, the president can be important in determining how the country responds to a changing economy and fluctuating prices. Inflation has also historically been used by presidents and their administrations as a focal point during elections and is generally among the top concerns of voters. It is literally a psyop that Republicans use to push the idea that the president has any effect on the inflation rate. Oh, inflation is high. You can't afford things? Must be the Democrats' fault. Below are the average year-over-year rates of inflation sorted by president, with a brief overview of events and economic conditions that contributed to the numbers. Wait, Biden's rate of inflation is nowhere near as high as a lot of these other ones. But yes, Trump's inflation rate at its lowest, or the average year over year, was 1.9% compared to Biden's 5.2%. Let's see the Donald Trump administration. The year-over-year inflation rate under President Donald Trump was 1.9%. Inflation remained low during Trump's presidency. When the COVID-19 pandemic hit in 2020, bringing a brief but severe recession along with it, the Trump administration declared a state of emergency and passed stimulus measures such as the $2 trillion coronavirus aid, which they tried to block through the entirety of it. Nancy Pelosi had to force it. Relief and Economic Security, or CARES Act, in an attempt to provide relief to individuals and businesses. The economic policies followed by the Trump administration are now known as Trumponomics. Biden, 2021 to 2024. Year-over-year average inflation rate, 5.2%. The average year-over-year inflation rate under Joe Biden, President Joe Biden so far, is 5.2%. Biden signed the American Rescue Plan Act in 2021, a $1.9 trillion stimulus package to help the country recover from COVID-19. Mind you, Biden signed it, not... It was signed after Trump fought against it, as opposed to when Trump actually managed to get a stimulus through. In the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic recovery and the soaring gas prices after the Russian invasion of Ukraine in 2022, inflation rose to record levels not seen since the 1980s. Oh, awesome. Okay, so Trump's handling of the COVID pandemic wrecked the economy, forcing Biden and Kamala Harris to work on that. And Putin specifically invaded Ukraine after Biden took office, both to make it look like war starts whenever Democrats are in office and because it would have an inevitable effect on gas prices. Inflation rose to record levels not seen since the 1980s. Inflation peaked at 9.1% year over year on June 22nd, the highest increase in 40 years. The Fed responded by raising interest rates 11 times since March 2022 in an attempt to cool the stubborn inflation. While inflation did come down from its 2022 peak in 2023, it still remains above the Fed's 2% target. In September 2024, the Fed made its first rate cut in 4 years. Biden's economic policies are now referred to as Bidenomics. Yeah, so unfortunately, this is a situation where partially we got really unlucky, but also adversarial world leaders stagger their invasions and their starting of conflicts for when Democrats are in office, which has a double pronged attack in that it makes Democrats look like they are complicit or even war hawkish if they get involved, as they'll have to if it's one of our allies getting attacked, and it tends to affect world trade, which inevitably affects U.S. inflation rates. And the Republicans are always there, ready, monitoring those numbers to say, hey, remember when things were calm and chill when we were president? And so, frankly, you can't really argue with the Republicans on this. Yes, if Trump wins again, the inflation rate will probably drop again, as every company bends the knee, recognizes that their king is in power, and ensures that the American people continue to associate a Republican presidency with a better economy, because they're the ones, the rich people with an interest in having a Republican president, control the economy. Even outside of this country, they can start a war with our allies to control the economy if someone they like or don't like is president. But yeah, this is why whenever I talk about the whole economic thing, the only real response you can have is, hey, can you give me one single policy Donald Trump was behind that actually, made the inflation rate so low? What policy was Donald Trump behind that did that? Can you tell me what it was and how exactly it did that? Because there's no way they're going to say, well, yeah, Donald Trump actually went to the Fed and he told them to increase interest rates to try and cool down the economy and decrease inflation. And he actually went, no, they're not going to say that. They don't even know what that is. Instead, what they're going to say is, well, you know when Trump tariffed steel coming from China? It's like, Yeah, man, that's what did it. That's what decreased those inflation rates. Yeah, vote. You totally vote Trump. But Zan, the tariffs, bro, the tariffs. He's the tariff lord. Yeah.
Motion. I'm just presenting you with facts. Do I think Donald Trump is a perfect human being? No, I don't think anybody on this planet is a perfect human being, myself included. Don't judge people off of a character that the media has portrayed them to be, because Democrats control.
What do you mean the media? What about the courts? What about the amount of times he's been found guilty, including found guilty of sexual assault? Including his Epstein connections, dude. These are not things that have been pushed by the media. They've been found in court.
Control 90% of the U.S. media, so they will paint a picture to y'all, and that picture is what they...
Wait, what is this chart? Yearly mentions of prejudice in popular U.S. news media outlets. Okay. Wait, so you're a Democrat if you care about transphobia, homophobia, racism, sexism, Islamophobia, or anti-Semitism. Also, the Washington Post is literally getting, I think it's the Washington Post, right? Is getting, like, massively boycotted right now by the left, because for the first time in 30 years, they refuse to endorse a candidate because Jeff Bezos, I believe, who owns the Washington Post, specifically went and asked them not to endorse a candidate because Donald Trump, for a variety of reasons, notably that Donald Trump is best for Jeff Bezos, but also, and I'm going to be doing a whole extra segment about this today, Donald Trump has been threatening prison time to all big tech CEOs like Zuckerberg and Musk if they don't fall in line if he gets elected. The quote from Trump is, Zuckerberg's going to be looking at a long time in prison if he breaks any laws this election. If Trump wins, obviously. So if you're wondering why Facebook is going to be no longer taking requests from the White House to take down misinfo or revenge porn like with Hunter Biden or anything like that, why they're going to be allowing that shit to spread rampantly, it's because Zuckerberg is afraid he's going to go to prison if Trump gets elected and he doesn't fall in line. Trump is now literally blackmailing other powerful people into supporting him, or they'll be in prison if he wins the presidency. Bro, how did Trump cuck Elon and Zuck like this? What the fuck? Because it's genuinely terrifying, even if you're that wealthy, for the president to have a personal vendetta against you. Actually. Not the way that, like, conservatives say the president will have a personal vendetta against them, but, like, an actual presidential vendetta. Yeah, pretty terrifying. Also, the Washington Post isn't even endorsing Kamala Harris, something that they've never done for the first time in 30 years. So it's like, this isn't even a Democrat-controlled place. You couldn't even claim that. Mind you, reality does have a liberal bias, so yeah, a lot of reporting from actually well-reputable outlets does tend to lean more in favor of the Democrats, but even this chart doesn't prove the point that he's trying to prove. Guys, the New York Times said sexism a lot.
The U.S. media, so they will paint a picture to y'all, and that picture is what they want you to see. And to be frank, I'm not concerned with Donald Trump's character flaws or what he's done in the past. What I'm concerned with is how good of a president is he, because that is his job, and that is what's going to affect the people of this nation. Oh, Bill Belichick, so hard to work with. He's a dick to all of his players, but yet he's the most winningest coach in all of the NFL.
Man, this is effective propaganda, dude. This might be the biggest W that Trump's gotten in his column out there, because you also have to consider Jake Paul doesn't just have the 14-year-old audience. He now has, like, the NPC douchebag, like, mumbling, like, dumbass 20-year-old audience now. Like, the dudes who watch, like, the dudes who watch boxing, to be honest with you, like, that audience. It's the sport bros. The winningest. Yeah, he's using Trump language, of course. Winningest.
We're not here to call names and get involved in emotional battles. Let's look at who was a better president during their terms, statistically. The next major point that always comes up is...
God, it's so dishonest, man. It's so dishonest. Yeah, if you look at statistics that have absolutely nothing to do with who's the sitting president, and you just point to that, then yeah, totally you can say that Trump served the best term of presidency economically. Still wondering how many ears will leave that ring? Me too, man. Me too. I genuinely cannot deal with any more douche particles. I might actually vomit if I have to endure any more of them. So that's where I'm going to cut off Jake Paul. But good lord. The douchiest of douche tubers. endorses Donald Trump. Someone very wealthy who has moved to a country that Donald Trump hates. Beautiful stuff. Love to hear it. Love to see it. Absolutely am not surprised at all whatsoever. Listen, if you enjoyed this segment, please consider leaving a like. Every single thumbs up, whether you're watching live or when this goes up as its own video, really goes a long way to boost the channel and the algorithm. Every single one counts in real time. So please, even if you're one of those lurkers who's just watching on their phone, please consider hitting that thumbs up. It's totally free, takes half a second, and you have no idea how much it means to me. Half a second of your day equals a lot of happiness for me. I hope you know that. Anyway, you can also comment down below to boost the effect of that like as well, which I also really appreciate. Thank you to everybody who comments as well. And make sure to subscribe and ring the bell icon to turn on all notifications if you haven't already, so that YouTube actually tells you in the future when I go live or upload new videos, because if you don't, they won't. And of course, make sure if you haven't already to follow my social medias linked down below in the description, including joining my fan Discord if you haven't already, which is totally free to join, and also is a place where I host game events, call-in streams, and or watch parties at least once a week, and I also announce all my new uploads and streams in my Discord as well. So if you haven't already joined, make sure you're in there and with notifications turned on. Finally, if you want to support me directly, financially, and you can afford it, please consider donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub through my website, or supporting me financially through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Patreon, or buying merch at the Streamlabs link down below. It helps me keep the lights on and a roof above my head here at the Xander Hall studio, so thank you to everybody who goes out of their way to go the extra mile with a financial dono. I really do appreciate it. It means a lot. And yeah, with all that said, regardless of how you watch me, even if you're a lurker, thank you so much for watching, and have a good one. How do you guys like that segment? I feel like it came out pretty clean. Good segment? I'm glad you guys think so. Good seggy? Hell yeah. Alrighty. Ugh. I had an eyelash in my eye. That wasn't pleasant. War Penguin, thank you so much for the tier 1 gifted sub to Stella. I really hope Stella appreciates that free blue name. I certainly appreciate the $5. Thank you. Said, let's fucking go. I love my home. And then a link. What is this? Iowa poll by Des Moines/Seltzer. Kamala Harris 47, Trump 44. You read it right. Kamala Harris up in Ann Seltzer's final poll in Iowa. Ooh. Ooh. Here's the thing that you gotta worry about, though. Although then again, the mail-in ballots are going to come in the latest, and they're going to be the most in favor of Kamala Harris. So there's like a guaranteed high favorability of Kamala Harris, like, wave of ballots that are going to come in every state. And those are the mail-in ballots. But early voting is likely to be more favoring Kamala Harris. So I wonder if this actually isn't good. It's a very accurate poll, too. Yeah. Because who knows, election day voting might be what heavily favors Trump. Remember the Red Mirage? That's true. We'll see, man. I'm still leaning on a pretty strong Kamala Harris win. Thank you for the $5, War Penguin. I appreciate it. Very kind of you. Let me update the dono goal really fast to reflect your generosity. Mind you, if you're watching right now, like I said before, please consider hitting that like button. I really do appreciate it. Matter of fact, how many likes does the stream have right now? We got 230 people watching right now. How many likes does the stream have? 130 people watching right now. 125. So to the people who haven't hit the like button out there, you know who you are. You think I'm joking when I say the like count matters? Think I'm joking when I say likes help? Come on. Takes half a second. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. There's like 100+ people here right now who've not hit that like button. Come on. Come on. There we go. It's going up now. That's what I like to see. Hit that fucking like button, guys. There's like 100 people here who are like, my like doesn't count. And then that happened 100 times. And now half the people watching currently haven't hit the like button. What are you doing? What are you doing? Sorry, fine. I was drawing right then. It takes half a second, but I appreciate it. Thank you for hitting the like button. Thank you. Thank you. Just like your vote, your like counts. It is like a perfect example of like what the Dems have always faced electorally, right? With low voter turnout, where it's like, guys, we have to stop fascism. Every vote counts. Cast your vote. You may not think your vote counts, but it does. Cast your vote. And then you get like record low voter turnout in 2016 and the fascist wins. And it's like, how did that happen? How did that happen? Didn't every progressive understand how bad Trump is and that their vote counted? But then you realize a lot of people think, well, I'm just one person. My vote doesn't count. My like doesn't count. And then you get a disparity like that, where even among your own supporters who want to see you succeed, like people watching right now who haven't hit the like button, most of them want to see me succeed. Even they won't hit that is the big issue the Dems have always faced. It applies to left-wing content when it comes to engagement, and it applies to elections when it comes to getting out and casting votes. Progressives are lazy. Let's be honest. Progressives are lazy. They won't even click a button for free. Hey, Zan, how many likes on a leftist vid/stream do you think ends up becoming one more vote for Kamala? I don't think it correlates. I think it's more so that it's like a good show of the tendency among progressives to not like to just not think that their input counts because they're just one person. But then a bunch of progressives all together end up being all thinking that way, ends up changing elections. We end up getting Trump winning in 2016, right? A real perfect example of the 50-50 voter turnout of Dems. My view to like ratio. Progressives know their side is not insane one, so they think it's destined to win because it's not the insane one. That's true. Yeah. Yeah, the left is not the insane side, so it's destined to win. My vote doesn't count. We wouldn't let insane outcome happen. Why should I vote? Everyone else is going to vote. Exactly. I always say a water droplet alone is nothing, but many water droplets make an ocean. Exactly. But most people just stop it at a water droplet means nothing. Zan, if you read this about what you said yesterday and stuff, watching on mobile, has the chat covering the like button and people just listening might not think of it until you mention it. That's true. Wait. Okay, I actually do have something cool I want to show you guys that I found out about today. Everybody, even if you're watching on the site, even if you're already subscribed, look at the subscribe button on YouTube, all right? I'm going to give you guys like 5 seconds to do it. Look at that button on YouTube. Look at it. Do not take your eyes off of it. Now, 3, 2, 1, subscribe. Did it light up for you too? Did it light up for you too whenever I said subscribe? I noticed that fucking today while watching a YouTube video. A YouTuber I was watching, maybe it can't be a live stream, it might have to be a pre-recorded video, but I was watching a YouTuber today who said, make sure to subscribe, and the subscribe button lit up whenever he said it, in response to it popping up in the transcript. Granted, there's no live transcript, so I guess YouTube doesn't know that I said it, but if you say like or subscribe in a video, not a stream, but a video that has a transcript, it lights up. I found that out today. I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck? I thought I was already subscribed to you, but apparently YouTube said no. Oh yeah, YouTube unsubs people for me all the time. Every morning, my sub count drops like 10 or so subs, and then it like rises back up throughout the day. YouTube purges like 10, 20, 30 subs every couple days. So that, like, it's supposed to be inactive subs, but more likely than not, it's completely active subs who just haven't watched me in a few days. So, yeah, make sure you check and see if you're still subscribed to me. It's been a long-standing issue where YouTube just unsubs you if you don't watch someone's videos enough. For some reason, it's common on leftist channels. It's not more common on leftist channels necessarily because they're leftist. It's because leftist channels are typically less successful. Like a centrist, right-wing, or even like a political channel is more likely to succeed than a left-wing political channel. So when something like that happens, it hits a left-wing channel harder more often than not because you're already starting on the back foot, right? IG does that too if you don't log in for a while. Interesting. Yeah, I don't really use Instagram much, but I've heard about that. Anyway, Slashy, thank you for the $7. I really appreciate that. Very kind of you. Very base. Thank you so much. Says, dumping interesting links. Just finished phone banking. Good news. And then a link. And then a broken link, which I can't click, unfortunately. An easy winning formula for Harris is simply to get more women than men to vote. These numbers will almost certainly narrow on election day. But man, it's a hell of a gap. This is a pretty big deal, yeah. Mobilizing women to vote because this is their election. And there is such a strong favorability. Yeah. Dude, I saw a clip the other day from a conservative like meme channel. And it was on like YouTube Shorts. And it was like... I think it was like us dying in World War III because Taylor Swift told our stupid girlfriends to vote for Kamala Harris. It was like us in the year 2025 because Taylor Swift told our girlfriends to vote for Kamala Harris. I think that was the meme's caption. That was like an image of like some futuristic like Warhammer soldiers. There's so much wrong with that statement, but I need you to understand, the Trump supporters, that's the kind of stuff they're saying. That is why women are not supporting Trump. And their response is not to try and get women to support Trump, it's to say maybe women shouldn't vote. Which is, of course, what the red pill shit got really into on its way out. Like, Just Pearly Things kept on saying, we need to take away women's right to vote. It has destroyed this country. Women need to lose the right to vote. And everyone was like, damn, bitch, you're going too far. Here's the video I want you to watch, Xander Hall.
A controversy.
New Trump ad shows montage of people he'll kill if elected. Jesus Christ. The Onion really needs to stop reporting completely 100% true stories. I thought they're supposed to be a satire outlet. What the fuck?
New ad from the Trump campaign rolled out this week, depicting a montage of all the people the former president says he'll kill if he's elected in November. The largely silent commercial, which openly promises the murder of various political rivals, celebrities, and even a handful of ordinary citizens, is already airing in battleground states and has become one of the largest ad buys and harshest attack ads of the entire cycle.
Be a Trump campaign ad.
Trump, and I approve this message.
For more reaction, I'm joined now by former Republican political strategist Mark Palmer. Mark, what kind of message is the Trump campaign trying to send here?
I think Trump is putting forward a clear and forceful vision of vengeful bloodshed, decapitating Pete Buttigieg on day one, ending the lives of Kim Kardashian, Jake Tapper, the Golden State Warriors. This is the kind of thing that has proven to be successful with firing up his base, and the campaign believes it's a winning message.
The ad is already getting mixed reactions. Elon Musk posted a clip of the ad on X saying that it projects strength and that it's a master political maneuver. But the Harris campaign put out a statement calling the spot desperate. Quote, they're struggling to find anything that sticks against Vice President Harris, so they're resorting to the same old slaughter and carnage.
And that's expected coming from Kamala. But I think it's worth pointing out that the ad is not entirely partisan. Don Jr. appears in there several times, and there are rumors J.D. Vance might show up in the next ad. Those are both jets that poll extremely well across party lines.
Even so, these are some very bold promises, not just...
The puppy. Oh my god. I will say that J.D. Vance bit. Yeah. If they add Ted Cruz to the list, damn, I might have to vote for Trump. Fuck.
In the commercial, but also in a series of print ads and billboards across swing states, Pennsylvania and Michigan. How much control does a president actually have over who lives and dies?
He believes there's a lot he can do, a lot of levers he can pull from the White House in order to murder these people. But at the end of the day, is this just Trump being Trump? Or is he actually planning on literally killing all these people? Maybe. Maybe he is. I don't know.
We'll just have to wait and see. Thanks for joining me, Mark. As someone who
then we'll just have to wait and see goes crazy.
Prominently in the ad, I'll be
later on CNN, we saw a weird bug.
We'll just have to wait and see. Thanks for joining me, Mark. As someone who is featured prominently in the ad, I'll be keeping a close eye on this story as it develops. Coming up next, what was that loud noise? We'll hear why some experts say it was probably nothing.
I really love The Onion, dude. They've been cooking for, like, what, decades at this point? Jesus Christ. Oh, that was great. Hold on. There was a dono I almost forgot to read. Someone super chatted. Or donated through Streamlabs or something like that. Or maybe Streamlabs will not show it to me and tell me to go fuck myself, I guess. Yo! Balder, thank you for the $5 super chat over on YouTube. I really appreciate it. Said Zan, in 2017, Puerto Rico voted to become a state. That's why we need the trifecta. New flag, let's go. I really would love for Puerto Rico to become the 51st state. Although we could just, like, kick out Texas or Florida and then make them the 50th state. You know, Puerto Rico would actually be a really good replacement for Florida if you think about it. Mr. Krabs, thank you for the $5 donation over on YouTube. I really appreciate it. Says, Zan, a new Adult Swim show is coming out tonight, so please help support this show to trigger the chuds, which I will send the link to you in chat. Is it like a woke Adult Swim show? Like, what? Why would the chuds be upset? Also, I'll check it out.
Where pro wrestling is everything. Let's wrestle.
I want to be just like Andy.
You are an accountant.
I want to be a wrestler.
Oh no. Black main character is definitely gonna trigger the chuds. Okay. Yeah, I can see this Adult Swim show upsetting the chuds quite a lot. For sure.
What do you want?
Will you train me?
No one becomes
Training art.
a wrestler. You either are a wrestler or you aren't.
It's on tonight? I don't have cable.
I'm gonna be the best wrestler of all time.
Wait, hold on. Chat, do you guys have cable? Like, do you guys have cable TV where you just, like, go and you sit down, you watch cable? I have not watched cable TV. God, I don't remember the last time I watched cable TV was. I just have internet. My grandma does. My grandparents have cable. Yeah, dude, it's all on the internet now. No copyright cuck? Yeah, I don't want to keep playing the rest of the trailer because I am worried about getting copyright cucked. That is true. I think it's on Paramount? Okay, so it's on streaming. Nice. Here, really quickly. I need to use the restroom. And I want to go and grab my my shake because it should be cold now. So I'm going to go do that. And I will be right back, okay? Mind you, if you're enjoying the stream, and you haven't already, consider, perhaps, maybe, hitting the like button while I'm gone. That would make me happy. That'd be pretty nice of you. You know, maybe just... Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. Alright, everybody. Damn. My fucking shake fucking spilled in the fridge. So I had to clean that up. Sorry for taking a while, but it also means that I no longer have Mass Gainer to drink during stream. And since I was gonna go for 8 hours, that would be starving myself for 8 hours, which I cannot do. I have to get those calories in. So for the sake of my health, I am going to have to end stream early today. Not now, but it's going to have to end around when I finish my segments. So I can make myself a Mass Gainer shake, a new one, and be alright. You should get yourself some gamer subs. That would kill me, Lord Rose 97. What are you talking about, dog? What? The Mass Gainer shakes are a formulated blend for people who are critically underweight. And as you can tell, I am critically underweight. So, yeah. I'll have to end stream early today. I already saw it. DYCFG, VGFCG. I'm not even going to try to say your name ever again. I'm sorry. Yeah, I already saw that poll. For sure your health comes first, man? Yeah, it just sucks. I was so excited to stream Subnautica today. Alright. Got the next segment ready. Could always split the stream after you get food? Nah, no, that's a bad idea. Trust me. No, if you were a YouTuber, you wouldn't suggest that idea. That's all I'm gonna say. That's the only response that suggestion needs. Oh, Boyzan, we got something good? No. Just post it if it's something good. Post it. Don't lead up to it. Just post it. It's got to be real good to overtake one of the segments I've already planned for today. Can you do a segment on this? Maybe the day after tomorrow? Maybe? Sorry, I got excited. Can you guys tell me what you guys want me to cut? I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna lose it. Your ribs will heal with medical intervention? What medical intervention do I need? Is this it, Slashy? How is that not Matt Walsh? Unfortunately, this is not segment worthy. It's 38 seconds long and it wouldn't work well for a segment, but it could work well as a short. I posted this in stream suggestions, but did you hear that Bethany of Girl Defined has become a progressive and her husband has left the church? Yeah, I heard about that. So Xander Hall, update on the cats. The floof seems to be bonded to me. Okay. Wait. Okay, so I guess this is the one... God, there's so many conversations I'm having with chat right now. A rib cast? I don't want to wear a rib cast to Lancer. Will they just heal on their own if I keep my mobility low? Did you see what H3H3 said about Hassan? It was probably based, but you should link it. Okay. It's in stream suggestions. Let's see. When I made the show with Hassan, I genuinely thought he was just a social democrat progressive like myself. I had no idea his politics were so radical, and that's my fault. 90% of the time, he's shitting on Republicans, and that's what I had seen. But his politics are like a Trojan horse, a veneer of reasonability with extremely radical views hidden within. The cracks begin to appear when we started talking about Ukraine, Taiwan, and Tibet. Once I noticed it, it all began to fall apart. For those that don't know, Hassan is in favor of the invasion of Ukraine, has made excuses for Russia at every turn. He is in favor of, he's against Taiwanese, like, independence, and like, he's in favor of what China does to them. He is also in favor of the colonialism China has done to the people of Tibet, the genocide. He is also a defender of the Uyghur genocide, a genocide that the Chinese are also committing against a marginalized group. Basically, just when they talked about war crimes being committed by non-America, like adversaries to America, Hassan would defend it or make excuses for it, and this started to stand out to Ethan as, like, super fishy. Just like it did to me. I hold myself accountable for anyone from my audience that was radicalized by him, which is why I'm doing what I can to undo the damage. I've come to see Hassan as Maga for the left, spinning alternate realities to fit his dogmatic view of the world. So fucking true, and stay mad if you think that the equivalency is not valid. As someone who has been fighting extremism for many years, I cannot look the other way when it comes from my side of the aisle. I'll likely have to have more to say about Hassan. If this is too much for you to stomach, I am perfectly happy with you unsubscribing. Frankly, shedding some of the more radical politics of our audience is probably a good thing. Unfortunately, the Hassan fans have really been tricked. I don't know if you guys have seen how, like, angry the comments were on my video, where I dared to agree with Ethan Klein that Hassan's rhetoric has been bad, but, like, man, they are mad. Like, they get fucking mad. Like, the instant... They've been trained to be fair. Hassan trains his fans to associate criticism of him instantaneously with Destiny. And there are a lot of reasons to have problems with Destiny on the left. And because of that, if you immediately associate any criticism coming at Hassan with Destiny, you're immediately going to think, oh, that criticism's deranged. It's insane. It's butthurt, like, obsession. When in reality... More often than not, the people criticizing Hassan these days have no association with Destiny, and in some cases they outright dislike Destiny. And I wonder if that is a large part of why Hassan is falling off. I wonder if it's that Hassan is being called out by loud critics of Destiny more than ever now, and Hassan can't play that lie on people who are known for hating Destiny, and who are now also calling out Hassan. Once they give that, like, the time of day, it starts to fall apart, and Hassan's been bleeding audience for a while now because of it. So, yeah. Alright. Holy shit. Okay. While insisting women shouldn't have the right to vote, Christian nationalist pastor Joel Webbin, not Matt Walsh despite looking identical to him, admits he allows his wife to vote so she can concede her right back to him by casting her vote in line with the decision that I make for our family. For those that don't know, the conservatives want to run the country as a large-scale version of how these people run their homes.
We currently live at a wicked time with wicked rulers who are dominated by feminism and hate men. And so they changed the rule book. So what you're doing is not exercising your authority over men, but what we're doing is having to get creative with the wicked landscape, and you're ensuring that I have my full authority as a citizen, and that my authority, what the wicked rulers wanted to do is they wanted to strip away half of a man's authority. And what you're doing is you're conceding it back to me by voting in line with the decision that I make for our family. So we currently...
Jesus Christ. Yeah, no, that's about what I expect from people like this. He also went on to say this, apparently, which goes on to be even more deranged.
Just so the women don't feel like we're picking on them. One, we think we should repeal the 19th because we love God and because we love women. Yes. But beyond that, it's more than just, and I know you'll agree with this, repealing the 19th. It's universal suffrage is not God's design. So there's a lot of men who shouldn't be voting either. Like you and I would both agree. You need to be a head of household. That means there's people under you, a man who is under authority and in authority, You're representing someone, representative government. I think you need to have a stake in the country as it presently lies, but also a stake in the future. So that's why marriage is important, because it indicates childbearing and these kinds of things, future generations, a stake in the country also in terms of ownership, land owning males. There's a whole lot of, it's not just women can't vote because they're too dumb to vote. That's not the position. That's not what either.
That is what half of the people arguing this do, of course. And this is the same argument that was made by Jordan Peterson back in the day, that like the patriarchy exists because it's what is better for humanity, and that women are actually happier living under patriarchy. And they think they want freedom and rights, but it actually makes them more miserable. If you remember, this was a genuine popular argument among particularly Jordan Peterson fans back in 2016, that feminism was a delusion from women who thought they wanted to escape patriarchy but were truly more happy statistically living under it. They were happier getting married, having kids, not getting a job, and only being dependent on a husband and serving their husband and their household. That women are actually happier that way. And they had like bogus stats to back it up. Of course they did. But the idea was that to protect women, they need to lose their right to work, to vote, to autonomy, to own land, etc., because women are actually happiest when they are slaves to men. Yeah, people are happier when they have no rights, guys. Trust me. Trust. Yeah, very popular conservative idea from back in the day. I mean, it's been popular for a long time, but Jordan Peterson really blew it up for a while among like young chuddy dudes back in 2016. All right. Okay. Let me bring up the next one. Here we go. Found it. Found it. Alright, guys. Y'all know what to do when I say action, right? 3, 2, 1, action. So recently, when it comes to Anna Kasparian, I got massively vindicated in my claim that about a year and a half ago, when she started seeming to politically pivot following some tantrum she had about supposedly being called a birthing person, which itself supposedly followed a situation where tragically, and this is a horrible thing regardless, she was sexually assaulted by a homeless man, and ever since then she's become like the quintessential person, like the quintessential scared white woman whose entire politics are based out of fear of crime. Like, she's become that, where it is very clear that due to a probably 100% real, I don't think she's lying about that for some, like, gain, due to a terrible experience, her political views seem to have transformed to, well, she's very much, like, all about law and order now. Like, she considers policing and eliminating of, like, homeless populations and areas, because she considers them dangerous, a very big concern, something that she now aligns far more with the Republicans on due to her negative personal experience. So, I predicted around that time, when she started pivoting with the whole, like, never call me a birthing person, as if anyone was doing that, I was like, okay, yeah, she's pivoting hard right. Whether it's genuine or not, I think it's a grift, particularly because she has debunked a lot of the things she's saying now in the past, and, like, she's not acknowledging that she's done that and saying, you know, I was wrong back then when I said so-and-so, actually this and that. Instead, it's like, she's just saying the arguments she was once paid to debunk, and fully is aware of the debunks, so it just comes off as very dishonest and disingenuine. Even among, like, I saw recently, even among some conservative subreddits talking about this entire situation, they don't even think she's genuine. Jordan Peterson's subreddit, for example, does not think that Anna Kasparian is genuine. Even they are accusing her of grifting and following the money. And so it's very clear that's what she was doing. At least I thought it was. People called me out and said I went too far. So comment down below if you think I went too far or if you think I was on the money. Because, well, don't cheat by skipping ahead, because whatever you answer might be proven smart or incorrect in just a moment. Because we've got a new video, a couple days old now, from the Young Turks called Are the Dem Dramatics About Trump Even Helpful? And this is a video, I believe Anna Kasparian is the main speaker here, centered around the idea that the Dems are hysterical about Trump.
The Arab American community needs to be reminded and cannot forget. He wants to ban Muslims, he wants to deport Muslims, and he wants to start internment camps. And that's what we are busy talking to every voter. He's telling you what he's going to do. Believe him.
Internment camps?
Yes, they just talked internment camps. You know what, Jake? You may have to visit me in one.
I don't know if Donald Trump has specifically said he wants to put people in internment camps, which is why, funnily enough, the host here on CNN answers that incredulously, like, are you exaggerating there? But to be fair, what Donald Trump has done is promised to turn the military on what he calls the enemy within, which he has described as being people who will protest him if he gets elected.
I get worried enough when he talks about what he's going to do to his political enemies.
Okay, on yesterday's episode of The Lead, Democratic Representative, of course, Debbie Dingell.
You know, Anna Kasparian has high cheekbones. I feel like she could mew really well if she tried it. You know what I mean? Like, she's got, the defined cheekbone area and stuff. I feel like if she mewed, she could hit, like, a pretty good... And the way she does her eyebrows as well, the way they curve up, she could hit a pretty insane mew, dude. She would look like the one meme where it's like, I'm Skylar White, yo. My husband is Walter White, yo.
Told Jake Tapper that Trump was going to send her to an internment camp. But unfortunately, she's far from the only pundit and lawmaker who's panicked about the possibility of being thrown in prison or an internment camp should Donald Trump get elected for a second term. In fact, let's watch a clip from yesterday's episode of The View in which Mika Brzezinski also broke down on air. Let's watch.
Okay, so basically, she's framing it as though there is some, like, hysterical Democrat response to what Trump says. If you don't know, in Anna Kasparian's letter about leaving the left and becoming, and I quote, politically homeless, she talks about how the left's strategies have not stopped Trump. So it almost seems like she is trying to become like super left wing, like she's got the real way of stopping Trump, but yet here she is a week later saying the Democrats are hysterical about Trump, which is of course the same narrative that the Republicans themselves have been pushing for so long that's helped them so much. For example, the Russia thing, which Anna Kasparian herself covered. Several of Trump's highest ranking members of his campaign are in federal prison for colluding with Russia to try to get him elected. The only thing that was never proved was a direct connection between Russia and Trump himself. But his campaign, his highest up members of his campaign, were charged and indicted and found guilty of collusion with Russia. It was never a hysterical idea. In fact, everything from Russia literally running bot farms to flood misinfo all over popular social medias, particularly Facebook, all of this was real. And the right and centrist pundits who didn't care to read the indictments or read the court documents because it would be long and boring and no one's behind bars anyway, framed it as a nothing burger that the Dems have pursued endlessly for years to no avail because they're like salty about Trump or whatever. This is gaslighting. Do not let them gaslight you on this. Trump's campaign people are in prison because of colluding with Russia. The only thing they could not prove enough to get Trump in cuffs and behind bars was that Trump knew about it. But if you think that Trump didn't know that his campaign was colluding with Russia to help him get elected, come on. Like, we know you're full of shit if you actually pretend to believe that.
This is the descent into fascism, if we so choose. Normalizing January 6th as the day of love. The day of love. I'll say it again and again and again. Normalizing enemy from within. I'll say it again and again. I'll say it again and again until you get tired of it.
Yeah, the enemy within comment is literally from him saying he's going to turn the National Guard or the military on people who protest if he gets elected. Mind you, protesting an election is allowed. rioting and engaging in an attempted insurrection on the Capitol is not. January 6th was a successful attempt by Trump supporters, after being goaded by Trump himself, to delay the certification of the election, which they succeeded in doing, delaying the certification. They did not have the power to overturn the election, and yet they went there anyway at Trump's behest just to try and stop Biden from being certified. And they succeeded. They delayed it by several hours. And a day before, there was pipe bombs planted around several prominent Democrats' offices, from AOC to Pelosi and Kamala Harris. And that was never, they never found out who did that. Dude, this is not hysterical, okay? This was an actual attack on our democracy, and Donald Trump is the guy who spurned it on, who has made excuses for it and pardoned those involved, and plans to pardon more, or didn't pardon those involved, but promises to pardon those involved, I should say. Dude, you cannot frame J6th as Democrat hysteria. They're doing it again, by the way. It's all about that gaslighting, that once they do something horrible and awful that should be the end of them, we all have to forget it and pretend like it never happened, because there always has to be the Democrats and the Republicans. We can never just accept the reality that the Democrats are the only party in this country that actually cares about running it in any competent way whatsoever, and the Republicans exist solely as a group that use the mechanisms of democracy and government to try and destroy it from the inside. We all fucking know it, and we all have to pretend like we don't. Because if anyone acknowledges this fact, then people with lots of money backing them up to do so will frame you as deranged, insane, or hysterical. Do you guys remember when the suggestion that millions of Americans might die because Trump got elected was framed as hysterical, and then COVID happened? Can you imagine how hysterical you would have been framed as if you tried to warn about COVID in 2016 and how the response to it would go? How many Americans would end up dying because of Trump's poor leadership? If you tried to warn of that in 2016, do you have any idea how many video responses you'd have made on you making fun of you and calling you a hysterical loser? This is how they gaslight people into thinking this is acceptable, and it's exactly what she's calling out, and it's exactly why Anna Kasparian is upset about it.
Until it's not so funny anymore, or you think he doesn't mean it until you realize he does mean it, and it's too late. Saying these strict abortion bans are a beautiful thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Are you kidding me? We got to wake up. And here's the good news, because I come with such dire warnings, and I mean them from the bottom of my heart as a daughter of refugees who came here escaping war, came here for America, to be a part of a democracy, to be a part of building something beautiful where they could be free. I'm telling you, the good news is that
they also weren't able to charge Trump with obstruction of justice purely since Mueller claimed that set a precedent with Nixon that you can't charge a sitting president with a crime. They need to be impeached first. And of course, because the impeachment went through the House, it didn't go through the Senate. The Senate was Republican majority at the time, and it didn't get through. I think he was impeached in the House, and it didn't make it through the Republican Trump loyalist Senate, if I remember right. Twice. 2 times impeached by the House.
That I believe women will be the beacon in this election.
Am I losing my mind in feeling that this hyperbolic rhetoric is not helpful?
Yeah, well, 50-50 in my opinion. So when...
Okay, I will say, someone who's had a political transformation following a sexual assault, defending abortion restrictions doesn't really match up well with me. You know what I mean? It doesn't make a lot of sense. Wouldn't someone whose political worldview got shaken by a sexual assault experience be mega super pro-abortion and absolutely, especially a woman, zero tolerance for any implication that abortion rights should be attacked? Why would somebody who has been sexually assaulted be more open to their bodily autonomy being ran over by the state? I'm not trying to claim that didn't happen to her, because it'd be a pretty insane thing to lie about, let's be honest. Women do not want to be known as someone who was raped. You know, it's not really a common thing. It's why so many cases are not reported. And so I don't think that this becoming a big story was some manufactured thing by Anna. It would be more believable that it happened and she never talked about it than her making this up. But it's weird that she would fall to such a demonic position, one that is so important to people who are victims of rape or sexual assault, right? Because, let's be real, there is plenty of reasons why a woman might not want to carry their rapist's baby, especially if they're not themselves of age to be carrying a child and raising a child. Hell, an 18-year-old probably shouldn't be in a situation where they're, carrying and raising a child. It just seems like when so many women who are inevitably going to be victims are either themselves already, they're underage, so that's already, there's that. But even if they aren't, they're college age or whatever, they're not old enough or ready to be raising kids. Rape is a real factor. There needs to, at least, if you're someone who's gone through something like that, how could you possibly empathize with someone enabling restrictions on that right? It is so, it doesn't, the lines don't match up to me. I don't get it. I've never been a victim of any sexual crime whatsoever, so I cannot relate in any way. I don't know what it feels like. I can imagine what it would feel like, but what I imagine it would feel like would lead me to be the most pro-abortion motherfucker in the world. That's how I would feel. It would make me feel, you know? Maybe I'm wrong, though. Maybe I'm wrong. But she's making excuses for the Republicans being able to pick on a state-by-state basis whether or not you have bodily autonomy as a woman. So I think that's pretty cringe. You know, to be fair, this entire grift started with Anna Kasparian taking issue with legal terminology most commonly used in reference to advocating for abortion rights. The term uterus, person with a uterus, what was the term that birthing person. The term birthing person is a term that is meant to be all-inclusive in legal documentation, so it doesn't exclude non-binary or trans men from having their rights included when it comes to reproductive stuff. So obviously, in a legal context, when writing up a bill for who should have the right to an abortion, you might want to say birthing person, so a trans dude can't not get an abortion if that situation happens because he's not considered a woman by the state because he's a guy, right? That would be a bad situation because that service is still needed and shouldn't not be included and protected as a right just because your gender identity doesn't match what was written in the law. So they wrote it broadly, and she complained about that terminology. That's interesting. Her grift goes all the way back to complaining about legal terms that are primarily used in advocates trying to write up drafts for laws that would protect the right to abortion for all birthing persons. The Ouroboros is eating its tail.
When Debbie Dingell says he's going to start internment camps, he never said that. That is not helpful. On that, you're 100% right. Because once she says something that he didn't say, then not only the right wing, but independents will.
I am curious, though. Did he say anything about internment camps? Trump internment camps. Take Trump seriously when he vows to build the camps. New York Times has reported that if re-elected, Donald Trump has a plan to round up immigrants on a vast scale and detain them in sprawling camps while they wait to be expelled. Trump, wait, no, he's actually promised to do this. Yes, detention camps. Mass deportations, which is something that the majority of Americans are in favor of, mind you. This is something he's running off of that could get him elected, is his promise of rounding up all the illegal immigrants into camps and mass deportations. The majority of Americans are in favor of this policy, too. Yeah. They're in favor of it on paper, I should add. When you get specific with it, the rate of support goes down, don't get me wrong, but on paper, mass deportation of illegal immigrants has overwhelming bipartisan support among voters. That's that's why immigration and the economy are Trump's strongest points and the things that will win him the election if he wins.
Will discount every other thing you've said. Not just every other thing you've said, but every other thing that anyone on the left has said. He never said internment camps. Don't say that. Now, on the other hand,
he did. It turns out he did. He didn't say internment camps, but he did say detention camps, where he'll keep illegal immigrants for mass deportations, including the children and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, it's not. We're not making things up here. Turns out.
And Republicans, you keep denying something he 100% did say.
This is the neat thing. I was open to the idea because I recently had a situation where if they wanted to criticize the media for being too hysterical about Trump, they could have. There is a recent example of something that they could have gone after. There is a clip of Trump that has gone super viral where he says maybe Liz Cheney should be in front of 9 barrels or something, implying, at least if you watch that clip, that she should be put in front of a firing squad and it's being investigated as a death threat. And people kept mentioning in the comments, the Trump supporters kept saying context, context, context. I was like, no context could make this different. No context could change what he said here. No way. No way. And so I decided, let's find the context. Let's find the full clip and find out what the context was of the quote and see how definitely not different what he said is when you do that. I spent about 10 minutes looking through every mainstream news site. None of them include the full video until we finally managed to find it. After like 10 minutes of searching and help from chat, mind you, we finally managed to find the raw video. And in that raw video, which is very hard to find, mind you, he goes on to say, Liz Cheney's a war hawk. She sends our people off to war to die. Let's put her on the front lines in front of 9 rifles and see if she's willing to send our people off to war. She's not the one getting shot at. That is what Trump says in the full clip. Trump was definitely crudely and crassly, but in no way, shape, or form death-threatening or calling for the death of a person. He was making one of his dog shit, dime-a-dozen populist arguments that the Democrats are war hawks, and a very common internet argument that you'll hear from anybody that if the politicians were the ones out there fighting in war, they'd be a lot less in favor of it. He was repeating a bog-standard internet conservative, far from the craziest thing he's ever said. And in full context, it's completely different. And I was genuinely shocked to see that he did not in any way call for violence or make a threat like it was being reported on by the majority of outlets, from CNN to MSNBC and ABC. They were all reporting on this as a death threat or a possible death threat and not showing the full context. And if they wanted to do that, if they wanted to say there are some left-leaning media organizations that go too far with the attacking Trump and it could actually help him, they could have found a genuine example of that. This isn't even one of them. This isn't even one of them. This is just blind defense of Trump from actual, real, genuine criticisms of him on actual things he's promised.
He said, I want a total and complete shutdown on Muslims entering the country. That was back when he was running in 2016. Everybody keeps, we know why they pretend that he didn't say that?
He also did the Muslim travel ban? And he's promised to do it again in 2020? Or 2024? Like, when he gets reelected? If he gets reelected? Like, you know he did the Muslim travel ban, right? Listen. Do I make the joke? I'm gonna make the joke. Listen. Oh, fuck. I'm making the joke. I'm making the joke! Listen, Cenk Uygur, he's Turkish, right? The Turks have a long history of oppressing... okay. You know the joke. The Turks oppressing, owning the Arabic Peninsula, all that, yeah. Joke about the Turks doing genocide.
Because that sounds uncomfortable. Because it's obviously bigoted.
Okay, he did say that.
It wasn't just the Armenians, though. It wasn't just the Armenians scapegoat. The Ottoman Empire ruled and oppressed across the entire Arabic Peninsula. Most of the entire modern Muslim world at one point lived under the, like, iron grip and yoke of the Ottoman Empire, aka the Turks. That's why it was like such a meme when they put Hassan in the Arab section on the tier list on that Twitch stage.
That Donald Trump says a lot of dumb crap, okay? A lot of hateful crap, a lot of dumb crap, a lot of undemocratic crap. But like, let's just finish the rest of the story, right? Because he said that about the Muslim ban. He tried to implement the Muslim ban. And then what happened, Cenk? What happened after that?
We fought back,
right?
And people went to the airports, good Americans.
No, that didn't matter at all, okay?
The Todd Monster, I'm going to correct you there. It's not the state looking into what Trump said as a death threat. It's a prosecutor in the state that is openly very anti-Trump that went on TV to talk about how she is speaking with her legal team to look into if they can press charges on this being a death threat. It's not even Like, the lawyers haven't even confirmed that they can press charges, and it is a Trump disliking based, by the way, single prosecutor looking into it. So I'm not saying it's not a big deal. I'm just saying, like, the fact it's being looked into in that way is not an immediate confirmation that what Trump said qualifies as a death threat. Nor, like, is it literally a death threat. I'm putting out the segment of me doing that whole thing I described probably, like, today or tomorrow or something. So hopefully you guys will end up getting to see it pretty soon and you'll know what I'm talking about. But yeah, like, it's not as big of a story as people think.
Action, I know it makes us feel real good about ourselves. I'm not trying to discount it, but we have a system in place. Okay, we have a judicial system. It went through the courts. It was challenged in the courts and it was struck down.
Yeah, I got you, Anna, but I'm not going to take a chance on a guy who says I'd like to ban you.
Wait, what's she referring to?
We have a judicial system. We have action. I know it makes us feel.
Reports, good Americans.
No, that didn't matter at all. Okay, that action. I know it makes us feel real good about ourselves. I'm not trying to discount it, but we have a system in place. Okay, we have a judicial system. It went through the courts. It was challenged in the courts and it was struck down.
Yeah, I got you, Anna, but
wait, is she trying to frame it as though Donald Trump's attempts to overturn our democracy failing, our safeguards working to some extent, means that you are hysterical if you talk about what Trump wants to do as a real possibility? I love that this is where defense of Trump has fallen to, that we have to admit that Trump is a fascist, basically, and he does want to do fascism, but he promised it 4 years ago. He promised it back in the last election. He did that back in his previous term. You know, who knows what his new term could be? Like, what are you talking about, dude? What? Anna, come on. You covered you covered the fucking Russia shit. You covered the indictments on Trump's campaign people for the Russia collusion. You covered that stuff. TYT covered it better than a lot of places did. This is how I know they're full of shit. This is grifting. They covered this harder and more in-depth than a lot of other places did. They have knowledge that most of you guys don't even have about how bad Trump is, and they're still up here saying this. That is how you know they're following the money. At first it was like, is there a gas leak at TYT? What's going on these days? Nope. No, it's money. It's a trail of cash that they are following.
I'm not going to take a chance on a guy who says I'd like to ban you and your family because you guys are so dirty and inferior to us, and I think you're violent savages, so I'm going to ban you. I'm not going to take a chance on that guy, number one. Number two, he actually tried it. He had to be stopped before he did his fascist idea.
Okay, listen, all respect to Cenk Uygur, okay? He's a chill guy, okay? I think he is actually a chill guy. He's had cringe takes. He's very defensive of everyone else on TYT. And that's where the majority of cringe from him comes from, is when he blindly defends his fellow people at TYT. But they're friends of his, they're his coworkers, and also probably his employees. You expect a level of protectiveness there. And so I can, to a degree, look past it. He seems like he's a genuine person, and the way he hates Alex Jones, going back like a long time, is genuine. There's no way this dude has been faking his hatred of Alex Jones for all this time. He hates that motherfucker. He hates that motherfucker, dude. There is no way that he is like, I don't think that he's flipped the script. I don't think that he's being disingenuous. I think he is in a bad situation where he's like defending cringe takes from people that he's friends with and has been working with for a long time that are just trying to improve their own personal bottom line, because even he's disagreeing with Anna here. He's like, whoa, hold on a second. Like, what? Because even at certain points, he can't defend the shit that his hosts are saying.
Okay, number three, people saw all that and were like, yay, I love Trump, let's ban Muslims, yay. Be honest, okay? So we want to take another shot. And number three or four, whatever I'm on, he has his own dumbass judges now littering the country. So one of them threw out a perfectly good criminal case against them. A very, very important criminal case against them. So maybe we run into a judge who goes, yeah, I think that Muslims are dirty, violent savages. I'm just as bigoted and racist as Donald Trump. I do let it stand. I mean, Trump is saying,
The fact that the safeguards have worked against him up until now does not mean that we can trust them for another 4 years, or that it is insane to suggest that we can't trust those safeguards for another 4 years, and that he might fully succeed in destroying much of what makes America so great in 4 years.
Let's deport anyone who criticizes and protests Israel on a college campus. Not just arrest. He says arrest them and deport them.
No, I know he says that. Okay,
so is he
how
going
would
to try
that
to do that? Of course he's going to try to do that.
How would that process work, considering the majority of these individuals are
The Supreme Court, one filled with seats occupied by Trump-appointed loyalists, several seats filled by Trump-appointed loyalists, voted to find him immune to all criminal charges if it is deemed what he did that was fully illegal was done as an official act as president. And who decides whether it was an official act or not? The same people who decide to make that fucker immune in the first place. They get to decide what is and isn't an official action. So, that alone should scare the shit out of you. That is an unprecedented move by a politician to just make an open public grab for immunity from future crimes he clearly plans to commit while president. Because why else would he need that criminal immunity while president than for the future crimes he plans to do?
American citizens. So where exactly were he?
Okay, so first of all the non-Americans are screwed. You came here, you paid a lot of money to go to, wherever you're going, Syracuse, Penn State, wherever you're going, right? And he's like, oh yeah, that's it, you're screwed. You criticized Israel, and my biggest donor is a giant right-wing Israeli. Okay, so that's it. You're arrested.
I'm glad that so for those who don't know, the majority of illegal immigration in America is people overstaying work and school visas. Meaning you come from another country and you get an approval to visit for a given amount of time, say 6 months to a year, for work purposes or school purposes, because maybe you're studying abroad here in America, and you're allowed to stay for as long as your visa is active. But you can just overstay it. Like, you just blend in. America's a really big place. It's pretty hard for them to find you or like catch up with you. In fact, I don't think ICE can perform raids. I might be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure you have to actually open the door for like ICE for them to like roll in and detain you. If you just like keep your door shut, look through the people and be like, oh, federal agents, not gonna open the door. I don't think they can come and take you, as far as I know. I think it's against the law. I don't think ICE has that capacity. Might be wrong. Last I heard was they have to, you have to open the door for them. I saw something about this. Like, if you're an immigrant overstaying a work visa or whatever, do not open your door for ICE. You do not have to. They'll try to convince you do. Do not open it. It was something like that. They might need a warrant. Maybe they can get a warrant and they can kick down the door. Who knows? Haven't they done workplace raids? That might be different because what I'm talking about might only be in the context of a personal home, because like a workplace is a public business or a private business or like a publicly open business, and the police coming in, they might still need a warrant. But I think it's even more severe when it's a personal residence. I don't know though. I'm not 100% sure. Take this with a grain of salt. But like I said, the majority of illegal immigrants in this country did not like caravan across the deserts of Mexico to the border and then like walk across and get in somehow, like, or get like muled in or something. The majority of illegal immigrants in this country came here legally and stayed here illegally. That makes if you consider their presence here a problem, which it's not like they aren't even doing as much crime as the native-born U.S. citizens, and they're here to do work. So, you know, labor's a resource. We need it a lot, especially for the type of work that a lot of illegal immigrants are willing to do. Yeah, it just seems like it just seems like it's completely this issue of immigration. While Americans really do fall for it and they do go with it, like, it's completely false in their minds. Americans have a deranged view of immigration. For one, they don't know the fact that the majority of illegal immigrants did not like walk here across the desert. They think they came from south of the border. They also think the majority of U.S. immigrants actually commit a lot of crime. Maybe they think they commit equal or more crime to native-born U.S. citizens, which they don't. They also think that they're a sort of like drain on the welfare state. They aren't. If they're an illegal immigrant, they don't even have a social security number. They have to do under the table work, which to be fair isn't getting taxed, but at the same time, they're still paying taxes for things like gas and diapers and property taxes. Or not diapers. I don't think diapers are taxed. I think that's something that's like not taxed. Are they? Maybe they are. I think they're specifically not, though. I think I might have had like the reverse memorized for some reason. But there are a ton of different types of taxes that they still pay. And because they don't have a social security number, they cannot apply for any welfare or benefits. They cannot receive money or help from the state because they don't have a social security number. They can't. They cannot drain from the welfare state. They can technically only pay into it via their taxes. They're paying into the school system if they live near a school. When they pay property tax, they're like, it's just, yeah, okay. I've stun-locked in this point of immigration for too long. Immigration is good. Even illegal immigration is good. We should be trying to maximize immigration. All data shows that this is the case.
I rob you of all your money, I rob you of your diploma, and I deport you. I'm not going to elect a monster like that. Debbie Dingell, you don't have to go to internment camps. He already said all this crazy stuff. So stop making us lose credibility.
He did promise he would put the immigrants in camps before they'd be mass deported. Turns out he did actually say that. I assume if Cenk Uygur knew that Trump said that, he would not be saying what he's saying now. But man, it just takes a quick Google search, guys. Like, why not just Google it really fast? I did it. Took me like 2 minutes to find the thing that was being referenced. I just looked up Donald Trump internment camps. And the thing that was being referenced came up pretty damn fast. It's not that hard. Just, like, Google sucks now. I get it. But even still, it's a pretty powerful tool. And it works pretty well. Just why not fact check these things before going on a massive rant about how he never actually said that?
On the other hand, right-wingers, if you're making excuses for how anti-Muslim he is, he uses the word Palestinian as an insult. He doesn't care about Muslim lives one bit.
Donald Trump is deeply racist and he says deeply racist things, okay? I want to make a distinction between Donald Trump, the person who says and does racist things, and the notion of a fascist. Because look, if we're...
This is the clip that made this go viral. Anna Kasparian does not think Donald Trump is a fascist. Mind you, fascism is not like this super radical political ideology. I feel like people need to like get that out of their head. Fascism is not this super niche radical political ideology. It is quite radical, to be fair, but it is very common. Fascism is popular. Like, it's always been popular. The ideas of fascism are like fundamentally just pretty simple conservative ideas. Like, pointing to some mythologized, nostalgic time to hearken to as a point that we need to return to in order to make things better, singling out particular groups and deciding that they're the cause of problems, and then like monopolizing hate for those groups as support for your side, like machismo, obsession with being a hero and giving your life for like these are some of these ideas that are fundamentally fascist ones are core American principles that we consider morally good. Fascism is not this like super out there, there's only like 10 fascists in the world kind of thing. It's pretty popular. I know that fascism or fascist is considered a thought terminating cliche. If you don't know what that means, it basically means like a term you would refer to someone or something with that is already well poisoned, such that you don't have to make a specific argument. You can just make a broad denouncement of the thing or person, and it requires no more thought or argument. So I would just say, that guy's racist, and leave the conversation there. You drop a thought-terminating cliche, everyone just thinks, oh, he's racist, and then there's no more conversation. Yeah, I don't... Like, Donald Trump and fascism are not... He is a fascist, and fascism is not this crazy radical thing that it would be wild for any Republican to actually be. Republicans who aren't Trump are already like 50% or more of the way to fascism definitionally already. Like please stop pretending like the accusation that someone is a fascist is like saying, is like it's treating it like a thought-terminating cliche. It is actually a pretty popular and widespread political belief system. And there are factors of fascism that are popular even outside of fascists and fascist belief. And pointing it out is not being hysterical. It's not. These fundamental ideas are really popular. Hell, just the idea of picking a random time to return to, using and monopolizing nostalgia. This is what Republicans have done forever in America. Like, these ideas are not that crazy or out there. Fascism isn't when you literally go full Hitler. Fascism is when you go like 50% of the way to Hitler. Hitler was a massive fascist. When you think of fascist and you think Mussolini or Hitler, I get it. Like, they are the most famous examples, but they were the biggest fascists that there ever were, okay? Fascism is not just the most extreme examples of itself.
We're just going to use fascist toward anyone we dislike? All right, then the word doesn't actually mean anything.
Okay, what do you want me to say, Anna? You want me to say wannabe dictator?
Damn! You know what, Cenk Uygur? Hero of this segment. Hero of the segment. I am not disappointed in him still. He has generally held the line of reasonability and keeping to the principles of what TYT has been talking about for years now, even when his hosts post cringe. Also, if I were him, I would be like, straight up, well, how do you define fascism, Anna? What is fascism to you? Because it's really hard to define fascism any way that I can't immediately say, oh, well, Trump did that. You know, like, it's pretty hard. Like, anything you could try to say as a qualifier for being fascist, I can probably say, oh yeah, Trump did that, like, yesterday.
Sure, you can say wannabe dictator, but I don't even think he wants to be a dictator.
Of course he does. That's what you do when you
Yes,
lose
he
an election.
does.
And you go,
Anna, he promised to be a dictator on day one. A direct quote from Trump. He promised to be a dictator on day one, Anna. We know what you're doing.
oh, I got fake electors, and I'd like to terminate the Constitution and bring out the tanks and use martial law against American citizens and shoot protesters. I mean, if that's not fascist, then I guess the word just shouldn't exist.
But
True.
was he able to do those things?
Oh, my separated ribs. Oh, that hurt. Fuck. Oh, Anna, you made me laugh so hard. My separated... Oh, fuck, that doesn't feel good. Okay. All right. How is he a fascist? Our safeguards prevented him from doing the fascism. He failed at doing fascism. He tried and didn't succeed. How does that make him a fascist? It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Oh my God. He tried to do fascism and our government safeguards stopped it. It's only fascism if it works, I guess. Fascism, famously effective and always works. You guys know the Nazis, right? They were famously well operated and ran. They didn't waste massive amounts of money on stupid gimmick projects they thought would win the war. They didn't fail at basic supply supply lines and basic supply saving up, like oil and whatnot. Like, the Nazis totally had tons of oil. They didn't fail at reserving and maintaining supply and trade. The Nazis weren't objectively failures at running the country that they oversaw. Like, what, you think fascism works well? You think fascism is like cold, calculated, and effective? Fascism in real life is stupid, ugly, fumbly, clumsy, and constantly makes you surprised that it still exists and that people who believe this shit can hold power every day. It is insane people with insane ideas taking power for themselves using populist fervor. There is nothing about it that necessitates success. In fact, fascism more often than not necessitates failure to be fascist. Someone sucking at doing fascism makes it way more likely they're a fascist than not. Because fascists are famously inept. Like, seriously, the Nazis were inept. They could not have won the war. They could not have won. Like, if you actually, like, deep dive into World War II history, like, they couldn't have won the war. Legitimately, they couldn't have. They didn't have the resources, the money, the allies. They couldn't have won. The Nazis couldn't have won the war. They had to have ended it very, very fast if they were going to win. They would have lost by attrition almost every single scenario that could have played out. They would have lost by attrition. It's just hilarious to me to insist or imply that a fascist has to be good at doing fascism. Just funny to me.
cabinet had to threaten, not cabinet, administration, his White
by
House
the way,
team
the other
had
thing
to say, we're all going to mass resign if you roll out tanks against American citizens.
Okay, so if you think he's a fascist, wouldn't that justify taking physical action against him?
No, because that doesn't help. That devolves us further into fascism.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's a difference between somebody shooting someone, that's fascism, and saying, I disagree with them, don't elect a fascist prick who says only white people are awesome and everybody else is garbage and should be banned. No,
Look,
I'm not gonna take a chance with a monster like that.
I know, you're focusing on whether or not you're gonna vote for him. I don't give a damn about that, and that's not what I'm asking you about, Cenk. I don't think that this rhetoric, especially from elected members of Congress.
So she's trying to say, I don't care if you don't vote for Trump. I'm just saying this rhetoric isn't helpful, and it actually helps him. Meanwhile, the quote they're claiming he never said, he did actually say, turns out. Obviously, I'm not shitting on Cenk Uygur here. He probably just doesn't know Trump said that, and if he did, he'd probably be like, wait, Anna. But he did. He said he wanted to put all of the illegal immigrants in camps and then mass deport them, including the children. You know? Like, if he knew about that, which I wish he would just Google it, because he would probably demolish her in a second if he did, then he probably would push a lot harder than he is.
Is helpful
No,
at a time.
I don't agree.
Okay, all right.
Okay,
well,
Anna, why do I not agree? Because, so Trump's helpful is rhetoric?
No, his rhetoric is
so,
awful.
Okay, if you don't want to be called fascist, stop saying fascist things. It's not that hard. Okay. Not that oh, here, let me have dinner with.
He's cooking, bro. What can I say? Bro's cooking.
Nick Fuentes, who's a Nazi.
He knows
Kanye, who's a Nazi. And let me say there's good people on the Nazi side. Oh, it could be pro-Confederate guys. Might be guys who are pro-slavery who are good guys. Let me do all of these things. Let me say that immigrants are poisoning the blood of our nation, a Nazi term that is only used in the past by Nazis, and then say I'm going to ban Muslims, I'm going to do this and this and this to all the other ethnic groups, and then go, oh, I can't believe you called me a fascist. No, he...
Yeah, pretty well put by Cenk Uygur. I'm curious what the comments are like on the video. What are the comments like? Anna needs to definitely look up fascism, apparently. What happened to her? She knows better. The entire far right is fascist. Anna is now too intelligent for the Young Turks. I will follow where she goes. Cenk is never going to intellectually grow. Laughing, crying emoji, laughing, crying emoji. So you can see what she's trying to do. This is the game. This comment right here is exactly what she's baiting for. Anna is now too intelligent for the Young Turks. I'll follow her where she goes. Cenk is never going to intellectually grow. And they're the type of person who puts 2 laughing, crying emojis after making a statement in a comment section. I just thought, I find that like the more emojis someone uses in a comment on YouTube, the dumber and more insane they are 100% of the time. 100% of the time. Dang it, Anna, keep it together. We only have a few days left after that. You can leave if you so desired, but let's finish what you have started at least. Just made 9 people mad with AK response. Come on, TYT, what's going on? Make it make sense. AK, please stop this What? Oh, Anna Kasparian. What's up with Anna? Has she gone soft? Trump's a fascist? Poor Anna. Call Trump a misogynist. Interrupts, yelling at his female co-host because she has a different opinion, and the tolerant viewers asking for her to be fired, acting like the real fascists. Fascism is when you disagree with someone. I haven't seen anyone call for her to be fired, but fascism is when you call for someone to be fired, I guess. He's not a fascist. A fascist would do. Trump said he wants to do X, and he even tried to do X. Yeah, but he wasn't able to actually do it. Anna is a moron. Anna is being so flippant and dismissive, what the fuck? All these clowns that call Trump a fascist and Hitler are all going to stay put if he wins. If he was a real threat, they would all leave. Wait, really? Wait, oh my god. Are they flipping the script? Who remembers in 2016 when people would say, if Trump wins, I'm moving to Canada, and they said, you're going to move to Canada? It's not going to be that bad. What are you're so deranged. You're so crazy. Now it's, if you really thought Trump was a threat, you'd move to Canada if he wins. Okay, man. I love how different the right just changes their talking points. So, like, in pretty short time periods. Like, completely swaps. Whatever suits them at the time. They're like skinwalkers. Anyway. All that said, if you enjoyed this segment, if you found it entertaining, enjoyable, or educational, then please consider leaving a like or thumbs up, as you might also know it as, you know, the little thumbs up button. Whether you're watching live or when this goes up as a video after the fact, Every single thumbs up in real time, meaning live, when you hit that button, forces YouTube to push my content in the algorithm out to new and old viewers alike, heavily boosting it and just generally helping the channel a ton. The channel grows faster. Comments also have a similar effect, so if you want to comment, I really do appreciate it. Liking and commenting is ideal. And if you haven't already, hit that sub button and ring the bell icon to turn on all notifications so that YouTube actually tells you when I go live or upload, because if you don't, they won't. And if you want to see more from me on other platforms, follow my social medias, linked down below in the description, and including joining my fan Discord, which for those that don't know is totally free to join. It is the main hub of my community and my fan base. And on top of that, once a week at least, I host a game event, a call-in stream, or a watch party in there. I also announce all my new uploads and streams there as well, so if you don't want to miss anything, make sure you check that out. Finally, if you want to support me directly, help me keep the lights on and a roof above my head here at the Xander Hall studio, then please consider donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or supporting me financially through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, StreamElements, Patreon, or supporting me financially by buying merch through the Streamlabs link down below in the description as well. But with all that said, regardless of how you support me, even if you're just watching as a lurker, thank you for watching, and have a good one. Ethan can cut that burp out of the end of the video, I hope. How do you guys like that segment? I feel like it came out pretty good. I like when John is co-hosting with her because he's quick to correct her. True, he's pretty goated. I forget his last name, but he's got the buzz shaved kind of haircut these days, if I remember correct. He's pretty spot on. He just seems genuine, like a genuine progressive who's just bewildered by right-wing craziness. See, I haven't seen him post cringe. Overall, TYT is not, like, falling off that hard. It's Anna that's falling off super hard. By the way, Xander Hall in chat, I apologize for yapping a lot during the segment. I was genuinely dumbfounded and didn't mean to hijack the chat in any way. Oh, no, you didn't. I like when chat's super active. That's fine. That's helpful, even. All right. I have a short for you if you have time. I appreciate that. I'll check it out. Yo, Perry Icefire, thank you so much for the $5 donation. I really appreciate that. Very kind of you. It really means a lot. Said, Zan, this is what I got hyped from with a huge whiff of holy crap. Shadow Raven Studios went off the chain with this list. Rince decided to confront him. Oh, okay. I saw this list. Apparently Shadow Raven Studios has returned to the internet after accidentally leaking his lolly that he likes. And he's now like got a list of content creators, including me and what's their name? Moment of Sanity. They're going, like, Shadow Raven Studios is going to engage in a organized copyright false striking campaign and false report campaign to try to get, like, it's called the hit list, the Shadow Raven hit list. Apparently, he's gonna take me out, guys. Me and Moment of Sanity. It's gonna be pretty.
Everybody, wait, mute their mic. Hang on, wait.
It's gonna be pretty epic. All right, so here's when all this went down. Oh, it's the dude. I think the dude is Ashfall dude, if I'm not mistaken. I need to play. Is Ashfall like out yet? I think it might be out by now. Yes, San? Hell yeah. Listen, there are a few Fallout mods, Fallout New Vegas mods, I would love to stream after beating it. One of them is the Fallout New California mod, or Mew California. Really want to play that. Looks raw. Basically, an entire expansion that takes place in like Southern California area where Fallout 1 took place, but it's in Fallout New Vegas' engine. It's an original story. You visit like a lot of the cities and places from Fallout 1 in Southern California. It's pretty raw. Looks cool as fuck. I want to play it. I also want to play Ashfall. Love anything that's set in a tropical environment. Love the idea of Hawaii Fallout. That alone, you sold me. I'm hyped. Another one I really want to play is for Fallout 4, Fallout London, and Fallout Miami, and Fallout Cascadia. which takes place up here in Washington, Fallout Miami, and Fallout London in London. I believe London's out, Miami is still on its way, and Cascadia is still also in the works. London's out, yeah. It got delayed, but it's now out. Yeah, pretty hyped for that. Let's see how this went. I love watching Shadow Raven Studios get bullied. It's always quite funny.
Shadow Raven, buddy, you there? Buddy, Shadow Raven. You can hear me? Yeah. Okay, wait, your mic is like cooked right now. Damn, bro, where are you?
My mic is working just fine.
Okay, there you go. Okay, fuck. Okay, there we go. Now I can hear you. Okay, cool. All right, everybody, I'm going to say this right now. Everybody mute their mic. I know everybody wants to say their piece, but I don't care. Mute your mic, okay? We're not having 100 people jump on this dude at once, all right? Because we're going to get nothing out of that but a giant clusterfuck. So Shadow Raven, okay, where do you want to start, buddy? Where do you want everybody mute their mic? Everybody that's joining, mute. Everybody say that in someone put this in Panopticon for everybody to mute their mic. I'm not going to repeat myself 100 times. So Shadow Raven.
Smart.
Look, I don't know what you guys are on or what your problem is, but
okay, no,
somebody wanted me to cover the Ash. Excuse me. Let me try that again. Somebody wanted me to cover the Fallout.
Guys, if it wasn't for the lolly stuff this guy was doing, I would have legitimately kept him around as a class pet for like years. Like, we would have had him on like 12 more times since the last time I had him on, just to have fun with him, if he didn't end up being like a lolicon. I can't platform and just like treat like a fun little innocent like memer someone who's like outed that they're into lolly shit. Like I can't like joke around and meme about how they're just so funny and goofy and dumb. That goes over the line for me. So unfortunately we have to cut off Shadow Raven Studios in terms of like bringing them on stream, and that really pains me to say, but can't platform someone who's into that kind of shit. Just doesn't sit right with me.
Well, Ashwell mod, so I did.
Okay, here's the issue, Shadow Raven. All right, here's the issue. The whole reason this started, okay? And like I said, I'm going to explain this as nice as I can to you. Now, because I want to, like I said, let's not have this devolve into some childish shit, okay? I want to, like, get through to you, okay? Because I think you're failing to understand
I tried, okay?
What's been going on.
Listen, I tried. Once I detected that I was engaging in a Sisyphusian task, I decided it was just time to bust out the old Rust insults. Just treat this guy like some dumbass I'd encounter at like Bandit Camp in Rust who's being like mouth breathing into their mic, and I've decided they're my new target. So yeah, don't make me an enemy in Rust. I'll get a lot of friends on and we'll bully the shit out of you. It's what we do all day when we get on that game. So fun.
So the reason Mo and Asanity covered you and covered your video was because you didn't do any research into the Fallout Ashfall thing. You just took somebody that was like a random user. You took, what was his name? All Out Monty. Yeah. He DMs you, makes up some shit. You didn't do anything to verify that he was telling the truth. And
he's not the one who DM'd me.
Wait, hang on. Wait, hold up. And
he's not the one who DM'd me.
Okay, well, hang on. Wait. Well, I'm like 99% sure he is. I don't know. I'm not, like I said, I don't.
Elder Lindquist is the one who DM'd me on that.
It doesn't really matter who DM you.
Okay, so already you're making
wait, hang on. Let me finish. Let me finish. Wait, hold up, buddy. Let me finish. Hang on. Just give me 5 more seconds, okay? Because your mind's about to be blown. Okay, so the reason you got covered and the reason people were talking about was because you didn't do any research into your video and you just took somebody's word because they agreed with you politically. That was it. Do you see the problem there?
But later on, I did do research and I found out most of the things I uncovered are true.
How? What? Wait, well, oh no, it was so woke because somebody said Ashfall dude was like bisexual or some shit. It's so no. I hope you know this whole little thing where it started. It's become so like.
Where do you leave? No, he's there.
What's the word I'm looking for when something doesn't matter? Asinine? I don't know. Irrelevant? Yeah, because you just blew this out of proportion. I mean, like, you know, we're so beyond where this started. Now we're at a point where it's like it's gone like a little crazy. That's really where it took a turn and where I got. You know, where I stepped in and got pissed was when you falsely accused Sanity of being a fucking groomer because he had pride stuff on his Twitter. And then when I asked you what was your reasoning for it, you said, "Oh, well, there was this one pride parade where there was nudity and there was kids there." It's like, okay, so because that one incident happened, which by the way was the parents' fault for bringing their kid there in the first place, but that's a debate.
I will say it does eventually get heated because Shadow Raven was threatening people. Oh yeah, I imagine he gets to that point. Here, really quickly, chat. I need to use the restroom. My bladder, it is full. I'm dying, guys. It's so over. Anyway, I'll be right back and use the restroom. I'll be back in just a minute. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. I'm gonna watch a little more of this this funny debate because it is pretty entertaining for me. And then I got more juicy topics for us to discuss. So I'll be right back. Get a piss bucket, easy fix. Honestly, that's the real streamer strat. But I guess I'm just not a real streamer because I get up and use the bathroom like a normal person. You know, I'm just like everybody else. Sadly, I'm not made for content creation. I can't piss in a bucket. This is so over. Anyway, I'll be right back, guys. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back from the bathroom in a minute. All right. I am back, my lovely people. Let's see if this debate gets spicy in the next couple minutes. I'm curious to see. I really had to use the restroom. Sorry. Drinking Monster makes my bladder go into overdrive and gets full fast. What can I tell you?
Wait for another time. But you're using that one incident to classify an entire group of people as groomers and predators. Drawer? And then you use your generalization of...
What is a piss drawer, guys? Because, like, you would think it'd be a piss jar or a bucket or something that's, like, hermetically sealed so it can keep water from leaving. Why would it be a piss drawer? Because a drawer is, like, something that could leak, and is that, like, part of the joke? Or is it that you have jars of piss in the piss drawer? What is the piss drawer, chat? I've heard of the poop sock, I've heard of all these memes, but I've never heard of the piss drawer.
That to accuse Sanity of being a groomer, and then later on accuse fucking me and like a few other people being in this grooming.
And already you're being a
insane.
hypocrite.
Listen, he accused me of being a groomer as well because I'm pro-LGBT. Listen, you just kind of have to accept that people like this will call you a pedophile for being pro-gay, and that more often than not, it's a self-report that they themselves are a pedophile. So, and it was in this case, ironically. Yeah, like you can't, like you can say like, oh, that's not, but they're doing it because they're projecting. You can't really like logic them out of projecting their inner like shame onto other people.
And already you're being a
Explain to
hypocrite.
me. How am I being a hypocrite?
Because in all of Sanity's streams, he was praising so much on this Pride Month. He was literally just saying it, just blowing it up in everyone's face.
Yeah, you're not getting my point, are you?
He even said
You're,
he supports it.
Hang on, no,
But
Shadow
does
Raven,
he
you're not
support this?
Shadow Raven, you're not understanding me. You're not getting my point. My point is, just because there was one incident during a Pride parade doesn't mean that an entire group of people can be written off as bad. Okay, Shadow Raven, let me ask you this, okay?
But he was still supporting
Shadow
it.
Raven, hang on, wait, I want to ask you a question, genuine question.
When I say there are like NPCs out there and they are mostly on the right, people like Shadow Raven are who I'm talking about. It's like what you're doing is like playing facade, and you're trying to be able to say melon without them having a meltdown and kicking you out of their house. Like they're programmed to do that when you say melon. When someone is pro-gay or is gay, people like Shadow Raven Studios are programmed with a pre-written response and like what they're going to end up saying, you know? I actually found a piss drawer once working in a home for senile people. I asked the man what was the sloshing in his plastic drawer. It's piss, he told me back, not one care. Well, Gandalf the Great, that man had zero shame. He owned it, and you gotta respect it.
You explain that.
I just explained it to you, but hang on, let me ask you a question, because I'm going to try and dumb it down for you. Okay, so you know the brand Ford, obviously, right? Okay, so you know the brand Ford,
That
like
really,
the trucks.
I mean...
No, hang on, Shadow Raven, no, hear me out. Okay, hear me out. Like I said, I'm going to dumb it down for you, okay? So you know the brand Ford, right? They make trucks, cars, and that shit. Okay, so would you say that the entire Ford brand makes shitty vehicles because one or two vehicles had some issues?
Well, I mean, Ford literally stands for found on road dead. So not the best example.
Of course not.
Okay, perfect. Okay, we're actually making the most progress we have ever made throughout this entire almost like year of drama. Okay, we're actually making progress here. Okay, so if you wouldn't classify an entire brand as shitty because they made one or two bad cars, why would you do the same thing for the LGBTQ community?
Because he supports it. He even said he supports it.
No. It doesn't. No. Shadow Raven. It doesn't. It's not about who supports. Okay, hang on.
He mentioned it in his streams.
No. Shadow Raven. It
He
doesn't matter
said
if you
Happy
support.
Pride Month
It doesn't.
and this,
Shadow
and Happy
Raven.
Pride Month that, and all.
What a critter. What a critter. Man, I wish he wasn't a pedophile. We could have had so much fun just getting milking content from Shadow Raven. Good lord. Xander Hall, a piss drawer is either done with psychological problems or elderly with incontinence and dementia. Ah, I see. So piss drawers are a real thing. Like, that's a thing that exists, that people have. And that's why it's a meme. I see. Also, Delancer, can my ribs heal on their own as long as I just, like, take it easy? Because I don't want to be in a rib cast because I cough too hard. I think they're just separated. Just talking about it makes me fucking cringe, by the way. No, they don't. Oh, fuck me, dude. Well, at least I know what was causing my back and chest pain for the last 2 years. Not healed correctly and will have a slightly larger gap. Ooh, that's not good. One Piece, I know! Yo, Zach Johnson, thank you so much for the $5. I really appreciate it. Said, might need some advice if you don't mind. Just learned my GF voted early for Trump. How do you handle a significant other voting opposite of yourself this time? Wow, that's surprising that your girlfriend's voting Trump. Have you tried, like, asking her why she voted Trump? Guaranteed it's probably going to be, like, immigration and the economy. In which case, I ask you show her some of my videos, Zach Johnson. But in all honesty, like, chances are you have disagreements in politics that are... The type of person who votes for Trump is probably not the type of person that you, as someone who's probably more progressive, want to spend your life with. And I don't know how long you guys have been together, but you might consider this a significantly large red flag. Can't make you do what I think you should do, but I think you get the idea. That's a pretty massive red flag that she would vote for Trump at all. Mr. Krabs, thank you for the $5 donation over on Super Chat through YouTube. I really appreciate it. Very kind of you. Said, also, I found a topic you could cover. Don't worry, I put it in stream suggestions, which the topic is another conservative animator, Flash Gets. I've heard about Flash Gets. Is he conservative? Really? I'd heard about him in a positive context from some friends recently, but I guess they just like his animations. Goes to show, if he is a conservative, then he's popular enough that I've got friends that like his content. It's probably like pseudo-conservative shit like Freedom Tunes. He's a Nazi behind the scenes. Damn. Interesting. Okay. Alright, let me bring up the next topic. All right. Y'all know what to do when I say action, right? 3, 2, 1, action. So, a little while ago, I covered this article from the BBC called Zuckerberg Regrets Bowing to Biden Pressure Over COVID. And it goes on to talk about how Meta boss Mark Zuckerberg says he regrets bowing to what he calls pressure from the Biden administration to censor content on Facebook and Instagram during the coronavirus pandemic. In a letter to a U.S. House committee chair, he said some material, including humor and satire, was taken down in 2021 under pressure from senior officials. The White House has defended its actions, saying it encouraged responsible actions to protect the health and public health and safety. Mark Zuckerberg also said his firm briefly demoted content related to Joe Biden's son, Hunter, ahead of the 2020 election. Mind you, what was demoted was revenge porn, like pictures of his dick. After the FBI warned of a potential Russian disinformation operation, which was happening. It later became clear that this content was not part of such an operation, Mr. Zuckerberg said, and it should not have been temporarily taken down. He did not give further detail about the actions he regretted during the pandemic. At that time, his business removed posts for a variety of reasons. So, we go on with this article, and it's like, okay, so Mark Zuckerberg is now saying, in the future, if a Democratic administration comes out and says, hey, maybe, like, reduce the, like, spread of anti-vax stuff on your platform, they won't do it. And I thought, is Zuckerberg just evil? Is he just, like, an evil piece of shit? Comment down below what you think the reason is. Is he just an evil piece of shit? Well, we don't know for a fact that this is the case. I do think this next headline is probably worth looking into following this news. Trump warns Mark Zuckerberg could spend the rest of his life in prison. Former President Donald Trump escalated his long-standing feud with Mark Zuckerberg by threatening the Meta CEO with prison time. Trump accused Zuckerberg of plotting against him during the 2020 election by steering Facebook against his campaign. Trump warned that if Zuckerberg were to do so again in the 2024 election, he would spend the rest of his life in prison. The comments come in a new book authored by Trump called Save America. The book features photos from Trump's term in office with captions describing the events. Trump's threat against Zuckerberg was in a caption depicting a meeting between the two in the Oval Office. Trump began by noting that Zuckerberg would visit him at the Oval Office. He would bring his very nice wife to dinners, be as nice as anyone could be, while always plotting to install shameful lockboxes in a true plot against the president. He then accused Zuckerberg of acting disingenuously by praising him and then turning Facebook against his unsuccessful 2020 re-election campaign. He told me there was nobody like Trump on Facebook, but at the same time, and for whatever reason, steered it against me. Trump's caption continues, "We are watching him closely, and if he does anything illegal this time, he will spend the rest of his life in prison, as will others who cheat in the 2024 presidential election." Meta and Winning Team Publishing, the publisher of Save America, it's called Winning Team Publishing, wow, did not respond to a request for comment. Over the years, Trump has made similar threats to other perceived enemies. During a debate in the 2016 election, he memorably told former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton she'd be in jail if he was elected. Never followed through on that, of course, because Hillary Clinton didn't actually commit any crimes that you could, indict her on. Trump campaign rallies often featured the chant, "Lock her up," in reference to Clinton. At another rally in October 2022, Trump advocated for jailing a journalist in order to get them to reveal a source. There is no evidence that Zuckerberg was involved in a plot against Trump while he was in office, nor did Trump's allegations cite any specific law that Zuckerberg may have broken. The mention of lockboxes appears to be a reference to a $420 million donation that Zuckerberg's charity made to fund election infrastructure during 2020. Trump has repeatedly feuded with Zuckerberg over the years. In July, Trump made the same accusations that Zuckerberg was interfering in elections. "All I can say is that if I'm elected president, I will pursue election fraudsters at levels never seen before, and they will be sent to prison for long periods of time," Trump wrote on social media. "We already know who they are. Don't do it, Zuckerbucks, be careful." Zuckerberg attempted to extend an olive branch to Trump after the failed assassination attempt against him in July, praising his bravery. Seeing Donald Trump getting up after being shot in the face and pump his fist in the air with the American flag is one of the most badass things I've ever seen in my life, Zuckerberg said, a few days after the shooting. Elon said the same thing. Silicon Valley nerds seem to just, really have fallen for that entire thing. During an interview with Fox Business, Trump said Zuckerberg called him several times after the assassination attempt, including to tell him he wouldn't be endorsing a Democrat. Meta noted he has refrained from endorsing either candidate, as he's done in prior elections. Earlier this week, Zuckerberg waded further into politics, writing a letter to the House Judiciary Committee about Meta's handling of government requests, and this goes on to talk about what we just discussed, related to COVID-19 in 2021. Senior officials from the Biden administration repeatedly pressured Meta to remove some types of COVID-19 content, including humor and satire, according to the letter from Zuckerberg. "I believe the government pressure was wrong, and I regret that we were not more outspoken about it," Zuckerberg wrote, literally groveling to Trump because Trump is threatening to put any big tech CEO in prison for the rest of their lives if they don't help him get elected. So there's a chance the reason why lefty channels have gotten so hard hit by YouTube recently is that the CEO of YouTube is terrified he's going to end up in prison if they don't demote left-wing content and promote pro-Trump content. Trump has basically signaled that big tech CEOs are on the chopping block if they do not serve as mechanisms to help him get elected. And if he wins, it'll be their worst nightmare if they don't help him win. "We are doubling down on our commitment to ensuring that every qualified jurisdiction has the resources it needs to allow every eligible citizen to vote safely and have their vote counted," Chan and Zuckerberg said in a statement at the time of their donation. The Chan-Zuckerberg initiative did not respond to a request for comment. The donations received backlash from conservative groups that mistook them as support for Joe Biden's candidacy. Well, they are. If you get more people voting, it supports the Democrat. For that reason, Zuckerberg said he would not make such donations in the 2024 election. That is true. Helping people helping people vote is favoring the Democrats. More people voting does favor the Democrats. Helping people have access to exercising their right to vote is what the Republicans don't want happening. So yeah, that is technically biased based on you know, what the conservatives have decided to make their enemy, which is people being able to vote. Despite the analyses I've seen showing otherwise, I know that some people believe this work benefited one party over the other, Zuckerberg wrote. My goal is to be neutral and not play a role one way or the other, or to even appear to be playing a role, so I don't plan on making a similar contribution this cycle. So basically, from Jeff Bezos, who, if you guys don't know, Jeff Bezos, presidency. This is also extended to Jeff Bezos and Washington Post, which he owns. Over 200,000 subscribers flee Washington Post after Bezos blocks Harris endorsement. The Washington Post has been rocked by a tidal wave of cancellations from digital subscribers and a series of resignations from columnists as the paper grapples with the fallout of owner Jeff Bezos' decision to block an endorsement of Vice President Kamala Harris for president. More than 200,000 people have canceled their digital subscriptions by midday Monday, according to 2 people at the paper with knowledge of internal matters. Not all cancellations take effect immediately. Still, the figure represents about 8% of the paper's paid circulation of roughly 2.5 million subscribers, which includes print as well. The number of cancellations continues to grow as of Monday afternoon. A corporate spokesperson declined to comment, citing the Washington Post company's status as privately held. It's a colossal number, former Post executive editor Marcus Bracciuli told NPR. The problem is people don't know why the decision was made. We basically know the decision was made, but we don't know what led to it. You know what's crazy? This is the first time WAPO hasn't endorsed a president since the Watergate scandal. And yes, they started endorsing presidents because of the Watergate scandal. Almost always Democrats. I think always Democrats. So for the first time ever, in 30 years, they are no longer Bezos personally blocked the endorsement of Harris that was going to go through. Here's Bezos trying to do damage control. The hard truth, Americans don't trust the news media. A note from our owner, by Jeff Bezos. Holy shit. In the annual public surveys about trust and reputation, journalists and the media have regularly fallen near the very bottom, often just above Congress. But in this year's Gallup poll, we have managed to fall below Congress. Our profession is now the least trusted of all. Something we are doing is clearly not working. It's not the media's fault. It is the fact that a populist fascist is mobilizing the American people against the journalists that are meant to hold the government accountable. Because what the fascists want is for the people to destroy free speech so they cannot be informed about what they as the government are doing. Use the people to oppress the people. Let me give an analogy. Voting machines must meet 2 requirements. They must count the vote accurately, and people must believe they count the vote accurately. The second requirement is distinct from and just as important as the first. What necessity is that people must believe they count the vote accurately? What? Likewise with newspapers, we must be accurate, and we must be believed to be accurate. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but we are failing on the second requirement. Most people believe the media is biased. Anyone who doesn't see this is paying scant attention to reality, and those who fight reality lose. Reality is an undefeated champion. It would be easy to blame— this is Jeff Bezos, by the way. It would be easy to blame others for our long and continuing fall in credibility, and therefore decline in impact. But a victim mentality will not help. Complaining is not a strategy. We must work harder to control what we can control to increase our credibility. It goes on with a bunch of bullshit. Billionaires across the board right now are bending the knee to Trump, whether it be out of loyalty to him or out of fear to him. The most powerful, wealthy, and some of the most famous people in the world are literally locked into backing this guy. He has gone that far. It's a scary situation. When people as powerful as Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg are too afraid to stand against Trump and have to bend the knee to him, you know that his threats are serious. Not Mark Cuban, he's the good one. For some reason, Mark Cuban is like pro-Kamala Harris and pretty anti-Trump, so that's pretty cool. Anyway, with all that said, if you enjoyed this segment, if you found it entertaining, educational, or even just enjoyable, then please consider leaving a like, a thumbs up. It takes half a second, and whether you're watching this live as I'm streaming at this very moment, or if you're watching this as a video and it goes out as its own thing, then please consider leaving a like and a comment. It really helps a ton. Every single like and comment in real time boosts that given piece of that whatever I upload and my channel in the algorithm, and promotes it among my already subbed viewers and, more importantly, brand new viewers. So I really do appreciate it if you do that. It really helps a lot. Takes half a second, and you really are... Those that hit that like button and comment, you're the ones that keep this channel going. I hope you know that. If you don't do it, you're not contributing... No, I'm just joking. But you're all right if you just watch the videos. But if you're liking and subbing, you're what keeps this channel going. I want you to know that. If you want to see more from me, please consider following my social medias, linked down below in the description, including my, especially including my Discord server. It is the main hub of my community and fan base, and it's totally free to join. And on top of that, at least once a week, I host a gaming event, a call-in stream, or a watch party, and I announce all my new uploads and streams there as well. So, yeah, please consider donating, subscribing, gifting a sub as well on my website if you want to support me directly, help me keep the lights on and a roof above my head. Support me financially through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Patreon, or through the Streamlabs link down below. You can buy merch if you want to support me financially as well. But regardless of how you watch me, thank you and have a good one. How do you guys like that segment? I feel like it came out pretty solid. Good Seggy? Hell yeah. Unfortunately, that's the last one I have for us today, so I'm going to be wrapping up in a little bit. But I do want to say, before I wrap things up, thank you all so much for coming out today. You guys have been massively supportive, both just in your attendance and your kindness, the drop in the likes and the subs and all that. Thank you guys. I really do appreciate it. It means a lot. Yeah, you gotta make it a contest to see if you can comment on my new videos before the YouTube porn bots show up. They get there fast. They're some of my most loyal fans, to be fair. Those YouTube porn bots are commenting on my new uploads within like 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and they're some of the first comments I get boosting engagement. So see if you can beat the YouTube porn AI bots in supporting my channel. It really would help. Anyway, it do be my first time in here on the website. Well, welcome, Emily the Skull Dog. Hopefully you appreciate your time here. For the record, if you don't know, there's also a pronouns feature on the site where you can select your pronouns, and it gives like a little dot so everyone else here and me know what pronouns to refer to you as at a glance. It's a pretty useful feature on the site. Blue is he, him. Red is, I think, he, they, maybe. Pink is she, her. It's pretty straightforward. There's also a gray one, which is ask me. If you've got like a neopronoun, you can just have gray, and that indicates that they need to ask you what your neopronouns are. We're pretty woke here, believe it or not. We're kind of giga woke. This is the most woke community on YouTube. Wait, you can make it so it displays the actual wording of the pronouns instead of little dots, and it makes it easier to know what people go by? That goes crazy. I didn't know that. Yeah, you can actually type out your own custom pronouns, apparently. Damn, nice. Red is any, all. Turquoise is he, they. Ah, my bad. Okay, turquoise is he, they. Blue, like deep blue is he, him. Pink is she, her. Okay, cool. Cool. Thank you. It's a neat feature. It's pretty cool. Man, I hope you're all having a good night. I'm really sad that I can't stream for longer tonight. Unfortunately, I had a little bit of a mishap with my mass gainer shake, which is kind of what I need to be able to do long-ass streams, because otherwise I end up going 8 hours without eating anything because I'm streaming the whole time. And that's not good for me when I'm trying to put on calories. So sadly, I cannot stream for any longer. People sad. People sad. But you guys have been amazingly supportive today. Today's topics, I feel, were pretty good as well. Like, seriously, in hindsight, what do you guys think of today's topics? Were they solid or what? I'm pretty proud of it. What happened to the midstream meals? You just can't eat on stream. Like, I can't afford to eat on stream. I'm such a small viewer streamer. I'll lose half my viewership if I take 5 minutes away from the screen to eat. And, like, I just can't eat on camera. I don't know why. I have a weird thing about it. So, yeah, I have to, like, subsist off of those mass gainer shakes when I'm live streaming. And they're a lot of calories, too, so they're ideal, but don't have one today, so Gotta end a little early. It's Sage. Good stream, Zan. Thank you, Mari Spare. I'm glad you guys like the topics today. Xander Hall, can you cover the Flash Gets vid next stream, please? Perhaps, One Piece 34. Perhaps I shall. I'll be the day after tomorrow, by the way. No stream tomorrow, because it's my scheduled day off, but the day after and the day after that are pretty pog. Mass gainer shakes are medically necessary. They are indeed, Delancer. I can't compromise on getting my I've been getting 3,000 calories to 3,200 calories in every day for the last 4 days now. Once I wrap up and I drink my next mass gainer shake, and as long as I have another pasta tonight, which is 410 calories, I'll get to another 3,000 today. And if I can maintain 3,000 every day for like a month, there's no way I don't gain some pounds. I'm 132 pounds right now, chat. You don't gotta be a doctor like the Lancer to know that's too damn light. You know what Ethan said in response to me when I told him how heavy I was? He said, my girlfriend's heavier than you, dude. Yeah. COVID fucked my ass up, guys. Separated my ribs, made me vomit up all my food for like a year and a half. I got fucked up by COVID, dude. I was like, I might be in like the top 10% of like worst left behind damage that COVID can give you. Like, I think I ended up in like the top 10% worst case scenario outcome for getting COVID. If like the 1% is death, right? It'd probably be like 5%, 2% is like death. I'm not many percentages away from that. Separated ribs and oh my god, it was so rough, guys. I'm glad it's better now. COVID ruined your lungs also. My mom's lung lymph nodes are apparently ruined by COVID. I haven't gotten mine checked, but they probably also got annihilated, so that's what I assume lung damage-wise is what I've got, is the lymph nodes. Because hers are fucked, mine are probably fucked too. Yeah, guys. Now you know why the last 2 years I was so, like, on and off with streaming. Turns out I've been dealing with some pretty severe, after damage from COVID that I didn't even know about until I went to the doctor, and they're like, oh my god, yeah. Yeah, you got separated ribs, bro. Fuck COVID deniers. Yeah, fuck those people for allowing COVID to get to me, dude. I got COVID so late into the pandemic, years into the pandemic I got COVID. There was no reason why I should have ever gotten it, especially with how much I was isolating and keeping indoors. I wore a mask everywhere. I was vaxxed and boosted. I went and got one haircut. And that's all it took. One single haircut. And I had COVID, and I'm still, years later, here I am. I'm a lot better, but man, am I still recovering from that shit. Yeah, Trump fucked the world with COVID. He really did. Like, monstrously. Anyway, guys, with all that said, I really appreciate you all watching today. Your likes, your comments, your subs, all that good stuff, and the donos, of course. You are all so kind and so based. I really do appreciate it. And, yeah, I think here's where I'm going to wrap things up. I love you all very, very much. I hope you all have an amazing night. And, I'll see you the day after tomorrow, I hope. Have a good one, guys. Doo-doo fart.